Carnell, I kind of hooked up with first, I'm going to say, with Cast and Crank, where we talk back and forth, and you've been sporting my shit for a minute, you know? Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I do. Problem, man. And Oliver, we've been trying to get on for, gosh, probably a year and a half, and finally the stars aligned.
Yeah,
right?
Man. Yeah, I've been busy.
Yeah, I could tell.
He's always on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I've had the whole story of the big swim bait thing. A lot of guys on. Butch, you know, Bill, Peters, you know, Gilbert, everyone. And there was one piece that I was missing, I felt like, and it was you. Because you did the whole big bait thing. Not only did you do it, you're a professional at it, where you made a business and really are very successful with your company, Big Bass Dreams. Right. So not only that, you made your catch into a business, which a lot of people try to do, but you're very successful with it. So I want to kind of know your story. I feel like you're involved with it a little bit too, Carnell. You know, like you guys are boys, so like.
Yeah, we go way back.
So.
Man.
Way back.
I'm very professional now. Even Oliver's heard me talk about this previously. I'm trying to be professional, not saying F words anymore.
Dropping the bombs.
You know what I took it as, man? I just took that as a personal challenge.
Did you? So
yeah, absolutely.
So I've talked. I'll give you guys a backstory real quick. You guys look on the internet. I look on the internet. I feel like if you look too much, you might feel like you get disrespected. And if you read into things too much, you might feel like it's about you. Because you get feelings, you catch feelings.
Yeah.
And you look into things just too much. So I did that with Oliver, okay? Mm-hmm. I feel like Oliver disrespected me, so we met up somewhere, and I said, hey, yo, is there an issue? And he's like, no, not at all, man. I read into it. I've done it before. I said, okay, my bad. That was it. So, yeah, I might have had a ill will towards him, you know, previously, but we squashed it out, and it's fine now. And that's part of, I think, Instagram, social media. You got to talk to the guy before you make a judgment on him.
Oh, yeah,
so,
for sure.
Right? And I feel like you probably experienced this multiple times. You know, guys so probably. Much, but I have some questions for later on down the line because you have some really good ones for you, both of you guys. But let's talk about, I guess, getting into big swim baits for both of you. We'll start with Oliver, kind of like how you started getting into them.
Man, you got to go back to the mid-'90s, early 90s, when I was going to Turner's Outdoorsman in West Covina. And in the display case, all the way on the left, in the Shimano section, actually, they'd have the original Castaic hard trouts in the display. And I think they were $49.99 in their super fancy box back then. So that's where my fascination began. Because as a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, I'm like, dude, there are fish out there that'll eat that.
And what age were you? Like, what year was this?
I started fishing at 10.
When did you get into the big bait, though?
I got my first one, which was like the hard head, soft body version, $29.99 at the time. Whenever that came out. That was mid-'90s.
Yeah, it was.
How old are you right now?
96. Old enough.
Oh, he's one of them guys.
Yeah, old enough to been around the game a long time, longer than a lot of the new guys to the game and scene may realize. But dude, I've been around.
So when you say new guys, do you feel like you don't get the respect you deserve? Like I feel like I talk to you. Like I said, you're a piece of the game. You're a piece of the puzzle. When you say the new guys, like, do you feel like, man, I've been doing this from the get-go?
No, man, honestly, like, the days where I'm concerned about if somebody knows who I am or what I've done are way behind me. Like, I don't care, man, because even as far as I've been able to push this, like, dude, this is still just fishing.
Yeah. When you think about
truth be told, right?
When I'm
if
hanging
you
out
bring that up a little more, Carnell, I'm sorry for cutting you off a little more, too.
No,
just so we could bring the whole mic up towards you. Yeah, the whole stand. Okay. I'm sorry, Oliver.
Yeah, you're good. So if you actually just take a step back and realize that in the grand scheme of things, nobody cares. And neither should we. Because we're all human beings. Like, I shouldn't be upset if somebody hasn't seen one of my terrible YouTube videos. Like, I really shouldn't. You know, but if somebody does recognize something I've done, like, that's always dope.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But to expect somebody to, like, oh, man, that person should know who I am. Because I've had guys come at me twisted. Because I'm like, bro, I don't know who you are. And that's not out of spite, out of anything negative. Dude, I'm in my own little world.
Yeah,
like
just too focused on other things.
I'm focused on all the potential things that I'm working on. Like I got my blinders eyes on, man. So like I don't see a lot. Honestly, like your growth, I was unaware of it. Just like I don't spend very much time here at home in Southern California.
No, I get it. Like you're traveling. I get it 100%.
So in ways I'm disconnected, right, from current events and the current culture or the direct pulse of the scene. But like, when I come home, I make it a point to like re-engage with my peoples, still make sure I don't get soft and can still catch fish here in Southern California because this is a tough place to do it. But man, we're getting way off tangent.
So
this goes back
I'm sorry. And people are going to yell at me like they usually do. I'm learning as we go. I've been doing this for 2 years. I like to go off tangent because what I do is I get excited, dude. I like talking to people.
It starts to get really raw, and you start to hear the story of how it's like it really happened. You know what I mean?
And that's what the thing is like when people go, "Oh, you cut people." No, I don't. I don't cut anyone off. I get excited because I want to ask you a fucking question.
You want to keep
and I want to cut you off because I'm excited. Like we're talking in person. Yeah. Like I'm talking to you, Carnell. I'm like, "Oh, music." I'm like, "Fuck yeah!" Hey, this band. This
earlier just went on a
that's
tangent,
how I cut you off. But going back to when you started getting into the big bait scene.
Yeah.
You grew up in La Puente. You grew up at Pudding Stone grinding.
Wait, how'd you say that again?
La Puente, homie.
Okay, I'm just making sure. You gotta say it right, bro.
Well, I grew up in Southside Woody, you fool. So let's get it. I'm trying to be proper for the sponsors, right, Oliver? Get it right.
Yeah, but you still gotta be true to yourself. Yeah. We talked about that too, right?
We did.
Because at the end of the day, I still have to be me.
Yes.
Because there's no way I can keep up that pace of not being myself.
No, and we have so much to talk about. I got notes because I'm like, I really want to pick your brain, both of you guys, on certain things. Like you, tournament angling and throwing big baits. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like you have your own like style of catching. Mm-hmm. And Oliver with just making a YouTube channel. So I mean, we'll keep going on the story, but so you grew up in La Puente, homies, and then you hit Pudding Stone a lot.
That was the closest body of water.
So if you go back, 60 episodes, I had Eric Johnson on, and he talks about meeting you.
Absolutely.
And Eric is probably one of the most mathematical fishermen I've ever met.
He's a math teacher.
Dude, the way he broke down stuff before he had a whole GPS, like...
Oh, dude, I watched it firsthand for years.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's absolutely
right.
a wizard.
He's like, he changed the rules in saltwater tournaments because he was so good.
Absolutely.
Like, the guy. So you grew up over there. That's a hard lake. I think it's a hard lake. Maybe you guys have it figured out, but to me, it's a hard.
Dude, it is the most humbling lake in California.
Did you start cutting your teeth there? What's 14, 15?
No, 10.
10?
Right off the bat.
Wow.
Right off the get-go, man. And a lot of suck.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of harsh learning curve and not catching them and just brutal, man.
Yeah. When did the trigger get pulled and you're like, I got it. I got a little bit of going. I kind of figured some stuff out. I started moving lakes.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like, that's why I went bluegill fishing today with Stefan.
Got to go back to the
and
roots,
Riley.
man.
You got to go back to the roots. And with all the new growth in fishing, which is epic, which I'm all about, and trying to push our culture in the direction it needs to grow. And it just needs to grow for us to all continue to do what we love doing. Right, but like so many people that come into fishing, they want to skip all the fundamentals. And in what sport can you truly be really good without actually understanding and mastering fundamentals? Fishing is right there with them.
Yeah. So you feel like those when you're building the fundamentals.
Yep.
You're kind of building a good
trout fishing,
a good
cat
base,
fishing,
good
carp
base.
fishing. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. It makes you a better angler all the way around, you know.
You're doing the same thing, Carnell, at the same time.
When I started, like, I didn't start bass fishing till I was probably 17 or 18.
Wow.
Like, I was already older. I had already been, like you said, pan fishing, catching catfish, And
Yeah,
then the bass thing.
They actually gave us a reality show a few years ago, and we went back to his home state of Oklahoma when he moved away from Cali, and we fished these little BS cricks.
What was the name of the show?
It was Breaking Bass.
Breaking Bass.
That was one of the questions for later. Just letting you know.
Cool. But yeah, when we were catching little largemouth and panfish out of these little creeks.
And the funny thing was, when I was first fishing those creeks, bass weren't even in it. I remember the day that I first caught a bass. It was like a lightning bolt, dude. It came across the water so fast, and I was like, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? And I remember I kept it. I tried to put it in the bucket. It was shooting out. I'm like, bro,
hey, I
what
love
the
that
fuck
you
is
said
wrong with this
I
thing?
kept it.
Dude, I took it back home, and my dad was like, you caught a bass. Where are these at? And that's when I first...
Next thing you know, the whole fishery's gone.
Oh,
Dad's like, we're eating, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
See, we need to talk about that too, because there's definitely an over hypersensitivity to harvesting game fish of all kinds.
I got that down as a question,
Man,
bro.
people need to start keeping little bass
And
in certain fisheries.
And I feel like you traveled across America, so you got to see different types of people with different types of points of view where they go, well, yeah, we keep fish here, bro. That's just what it is.
Absolutely.
But I still want to make the timeline. That's what I'm trying to do, because I feel like your timeline kind of made a big change in Southern California with the fish you caught. So you're building up your career. You did the whole panfish thing. Then what did you figure out? Oh, I love this big bait thing. I'm going to go hard with it.
Yeah, and that was already a couple years into bass fishing. Right,
Okay.
learning things like how to Texas rig a plastic, split shotting, Carolina rigging back then. Nobody was drop shotting yet. There was no such thing as a Senko. There was no such thing as a brush hog.
Nope.
Like, none of this existed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're talking about the very basic fundamentals of 90s era bass fishing. And then you see these big swim baits, and the Optimum swim bait came out. And that was also an early, like, kind of readily available big lure, big bait
Was this a
option.
thumper tail?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
it was a little somewhat of the same. It was been changed a little
big
bit.
tail.
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same.
I feel like I know what I'm talking about just because I talk to so many guys.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
it's great hearing the history.
Right.
This is amazing. But keep going on.
Yeah, and it just continued to evolve, man. And me and this guy have been around for much of it, and some of
He's actually started doing it way before I did. I honestly
I was using
he's
my
the one
saltwater
that
gear.
brought me actually into doing it, because I was still on the conventional thing, and I had got out of fishing for a long time, and he did too. We hadn't seen each other in 10-year spans.
So when did you guys come back together and kind of hook up?
That was early
2011, 12.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
yeah.
That was in the middle of my dream
I think it was
season.
actually maybe even 2010 when it first happened, somewhere around 10.
Somebody I knew was like, "Hey man, I saw Carnell at the gym." My
Oh,
boy
shit.
Alex.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh,
And you
no
were fishing already.
Yeah, I had started back
Okay.
because I took a long time off just doing music, touring a lot. So, and like I said, I ran into him actually at an In-N-Out one time. It was so crazy.
That's how they went off the 60, bro.
It was actually off the It was off the
Off the
210 and
Okay,
Azusa.
Pasadena. The
And
Pasadena.
Azusa,
No,
no,
that's the one.
yeah,
Okay,
Like-
all right.
right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
But
our
see, you're
story
skipping
alone.
so much in the fishing arc already.
Yeah, our story.
It's hard
alone is
because I
crazy.
wanted you guys.
I'm telling you,
hey, you go, you keep going, Oliver.
For sure.
You
It's just-
fucking do you, bro.
it's
Go
just
for it.
tough, man,
So get back
It's
to
a
15.
long time.
Okay,
It's a
let's
long time,
let's start
dude.
the big bait. I'm not gonna say one more fucking word. I don't want to do any tangents. So I'm gonna let Oliver take the fucking platform.
for sure.
You tell me about your whole big bait experience.
Yeah, we were
Starting catching big fish, all the way up to catching the one.
the one.
Right, it's the one, is it not? I mean, that's the one, dude.
So I still
So
remember
far.
where I was when he.
Yeah, he was one of the ones that got the text.
Yeah.
There you go. I've heard so many stories. I mean, I want to hear the mouth
Gilbert
of the
got
guy.
the text. A couple guys got the text.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But
man.
anyways, mid to early 90s, dabbling with it. This is early in the day, so there was no dedicated swim bait gear. I'm fishing a inshore saltwater setup that we
What were
fish
you fishing at the
calicos.
time? Calico stuff?
Like a Turner's Outdoorsman Calico Special.
Okay.
They were all-star blanks. They're actually really good rods.
Okay.
and then like a 400 size round reel, Calcutta, Abu Garcia, something along those lines. Penn International 965.
That's crazy, dude.
Like, this is going back, man. And saw some success on like 4 or 5 pound fish on that 9-inch hardhead. Some of the boys are catching them on the Optibomb. I never caught them on that bait. And then the Osprey came out, and I started catching fish on that 7.5-inch Osprey Talon. And then kind of stepped away from fishing, like Carnell said. Got out of high school, just got into other things, and then came back to it 2004, 2005. Joined up with the Bass Club. And
Which bass club were you part of at that time?
It was actually the California Bass Contenders.
Okay.
Contenders, yeah.
Out of, what city would they be technically? I guess San Dimas.
Yeah, that's where all
So
the
shout out
meetings
to
were.
all the OGs and the Bass Contenders. But started fishing the club level stuff, heavy, and still dabbled with the swim bait stuff here and there. And I'd catch a swim bait fish in a tournament first at that level and gain confidence. Right, it's all about gaining experience and confidence, and then taking that next step when you feel like you're ready. And only you can tell when that is. And really, the fish are the ones that can tell, or that are telling the story, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're not catching them, maybe you shouldn't try to jump, steps. Yeah. And it went from there and started doing team stuff. And then really, I got hyper focused on trying to catch the one. So from 2005 or 6 until 10, 11, it was nothing but the big bait. Damn. Year round. So if someone made a big bait, I had it.
Every big bait.
Every big bait. I mean, almost every big bait. Back then, the options are way more limited. But it was also, as everybody sees today, like, it's still a small world.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, we're in Southern California. Not that many people fish.
You don't think they do until you start talking to dudes like...
But enough, like, you're not that far separated from somebody else.
No.
There's no 7 degrees of separation.
No,
it's more like 1.
Yes.
Okay? It's 1 degree of separation.
I
here.
agree.
So, anyways, where was I?
So you're grabbing every bait you can.
Yeah, and just spending time, man, and failing with every single one of them in every scenario that I could try it in, and learning the hard way. And there was none of this stuff available.
No. Did you have a mentor?
Not in the sense of someone that would show me techniques.
How about someone that you could go to and
but just
talk
like
to?
more like fatherly, like elders.
Yes.
Yeah, I had some of those guys.
Could you name a couple of those dudes and give them
a lot of
credit?
them were the OGs at Pudding Stone, man.
Really?
Like the old retired dudes.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Like,
so it's not like anyone. It's just like dudes you'd meet at Pudding Stone. Okay.
I'm from La Puente. I don't know anybody.
At the time too, it wasn't like
there. You'd see people in Western Art or News, right? So like,
that's about it.
Doc Holliday, he lives in Walnut.
Yeah,
dude, that's 3 cities over.
I know. It's like
holy crap! And look at him, he catches monsters out of casitas, and he'd come into Turner's and wipe out the crawdad tank and buy all the swim baits and buy new swim bait rods and reels. And like, he was probably one of the first ones that I knew firsthand that was actually doing it, man. And like, if you go back on the Big Bass Streams YouTube channel, like, I did a lot of in-depth stuff.
No, I've seen it,
dude. It's for me as a just a fishing geek. Like, I geeked out of watching Doc go back down memory lane and reliving all of these vivid memories.
It's so funny that you say that. So I started fishing when I was 30. I'm 40. My geek out. You guys are going to be like, really? Matt Magnon.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I started, it was Fishing Network.
Yeah.
So if you look at Fishing Network, I was a surf fisherman. That's what I did. So, but when I got into DVL, you look at DVL's thing and you see Matt.
Yeah.
Hey, we're catching this.
Yeah.
So when I met Matt, I'm like, oh, fuck, I got so many questions, bro. Like,
that's cool.
Because I was older when I got into it.
Yeah.
So my geek out was a little different, but it's cool to hear your geek out. And then some dudes are older and they go, oh, my geek out's this instead, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Everybody's got somebody that influenced them.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's why it's important, especially if you're a content creator now and people are looking at you. You need to be a positive influence.
Yes.
Instead of adding salt to the game.
I agree 100%.
Hey, bro, I don't have enough time to digest all the good stuff. Like, seriously. Like, there's so much good potential, like, awesome stuff through fishing out there. Like, please contribute to it in a positive fashion.
So let's do a tangent. The only reason I'm going to do this, 2 times, Oliver, you bring up the negative. Let's just talk about it and get it out, bro. So what is your point of view on, like, I get it, everyone gets it.
I'm just going to talk on it real loose.
And
okay?
you make it before I get to it. I get shit. Okay, I've gotten shit on my podcast. I look at the reviews. People go, "You fucking piece of shit. You don't know how to fucking interview." Yeah, I don't. Yeah, whatever. I don't reply to them. On YouTube, I'm barely starting them. I get some shitty ones. Since we're talking about this right now, this is the only reason I want to bring it up, because I feel like you just might as well get it out of the way. You've talked about it twice. It's kind of like, okay, what's your point of view? And you have a different point of view because you respond to some of these guys. I won't, but you will.
Absolutely, man. Like, it goes back to where we grew up and how we grew up. Bro, you're not going to run your mouth about me, especially when it's unfounded and like way off base. Like, I'm going to check you.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do it.
Do you feel like these dudes know that already? Like, you don't need to tell them that, dude?
Man, you'd think so, but I guess we didn't all grow up the same.
No, not at all.
Right? So I don't go out there disrespecting anybody.
No.
So when someone comes at me with that energy, they're going to get a different type of energy than most people that reach out to me. Do I get messages all day, every day, across all platforms from everywhere, here at home, across the country, worldwide, and they're almost like 99.9%, no BS, all positive, like overwhelmingly positive.
Of course.
And most importantly, and here's the dope part about all this. Like, I'm not hard to find out there or hear. I'm easy to spot. Not one person has ever come at me with like a twisted like vibe.
Yeah.
So then you know it's keyboard warriors the whole time.
That's why you can't even like sweat them. So, but there needs to be a reminder, like, hey man, like, you need to have like just common decency and respect for someone else.
So you kind of do that as like a shot back at him, going, dude.
Yeah, and it's
don't
not like,
do it.
And it's not like I'm challenging him to a fight or anything or threatening him. But you know, I might enjoy the trash talking from my basketball background a little bit, but at the same time, I learn like I got to be able to support what I'm saying, or I'm gonna get like punched in the jaw.
Of course, that's how it works.
Does nobody get punched in the jaw anymore?
Apparently, no, they don't. So, they don't. I mean, I've had times at lakes with dudes when I started this podcast, like where I've ran into dudes.
Yeah,
I've had beefs where we squashed it out and we're good now. But you talk to the guy, like I talked to you, I talked to the other guy. We're cool. We squashed it. But I feel like people don't talk to each other maybe nowadays as much. So you get a different story.
Well, it goes back to a couple of different points that we started off on, right? And it's easy to paint someone in whatever image, whether it's a good light or a bad light, especially when you're set up to have like a predisposed notion, like, hey Nick, you watch Oliver's podcast with Parker? He's talking crap about you in your podcast.
Look he bring it out. Thank you.
But you came to me like a man, and we had a civil conversation. No voices were raised.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked it out. You asked me like where that came from.
Did you feel like that's kind of being like a grown ass man? Like
that's kind of like the way we grew up.
And when Matt's like, "Oh, Oliver's here," I'm like, "Oh, cool." He's like, "Oh," I'm like, truthfully, I'm like, I don't care for fucking Oliver at the time before I talk to you, but I'm not gonna make it awkward, dude. That's not me. Like, you know, these dudes bring me here to do something cool. You don't fuck on shit on someone's parade.
Yeah.
Because someone else brings you somewhere else. There's got to be some decency.
So here's what I learned, right?
You know?
You can only make a judgment on somebody through your own personal experiences.
Yes.
I don't care if it's your best friend that's told you this, that, and a third. Like, unless you've actually seen it firsthand or like felt that vibe or like seen something that justifies your perspective on someone, whether they're good or bad. Like, let that determine how you feel.
Yeah.
And even then, don't go around like yapping your mouth.
But
like
how do you do that with like other YouTube creators? How about that? Like, because I feel like YouTube creators shit on each other a lot. Well, I do. Like, do you not? Like, there's so many.
Number one, I'm not a YouTube creator. We create stuff on YouTube. There's a difference.
Ooh, man, he just pulled his dick out, huh? Well, do you know what I'm saying? How about this? People that make media content for YouTube to put it on there. So I got so many questions. We could go on a tangent right now. I got a second question for you.
This goes back to something that's very fundamentally important to me is
Yes.
like the respect of the ones that I seek respect from is worth more than all of the attention in the world.
Yes.
All right. So people that I've looked up to, a Doc Holliday, people that I've worked with, a Mike Gilbert, people that I fish with, a Carnell Lee. Like their perception of me far outweighs thousands of nobodies to me. I don't know these people. I'm not gonna let their energy affect me unless it's a positive energy. And thankfully, like look at what we do, man. Like it's crazy positive. It's like this crazy tsunami that just keeps building every year.
What you're doing, it's amazing. Both of you guys. I mean, you have your show you did. Hopefully, it comes back.
Yeah.
We'll do a better one.
Seriously.
Real talk.
No, because that was one of the questions. So someone asks, "Are you guys going to do Breaking Bass again?"
No, because from the outside looking in, you just don't understand what goes into a production like that. It's wild, man.
Contracts and
the legalities of it.
So did you have a production company actually do that?
Oh, dude,
it's full on Hollywood production.
Full on,
dude.
And this is like a 3-year process.
Son of a bitch to get that done. Right?
Did you know how much money went into that? Like it was.
So
crazy.
we filmed a 2-day Calico. We were gonna do a show. Someone hit me up. We were gonna do it. I have the footage. I kept it. What they gave me, it was to do kind of like a little bit about each fishery. The first one was about Calico, so I had Eric Ben on, Bobby Martinez, Jeff Leeson. All the guys flipped a boat or put a boat on top of the jetty or something. So it was about that. But the production that went into it was like, dude, horrible. We did that performance. I had to do a take I'm gonna say for 2 hours. Because I kept fucking it up.
It's not easy, is it?
I'm sweating my ass off. There's more lights than this. I'm like, oh shit. But no, I get what you're saying. It's so much work.
But you know, it's just like fishing, bro. Like the more you do something,
the more natural it becomes.
The more experience you build, the better you should get at it. If you're trying to get better, that's the key.
How much time do you think it takes for you to get that good or get better?
A lifetime.
Yeah.
That's not the answer anybody wants to hear.
Was it 1,000 movements? What is it called? If you do something 1,000 or 10,000 times? That's when you're supposed to be like if you read that book.
Yeah.
There's a book saying if you do something 10,000 times, that's when you got it down. But I mean,
maybe.
Not for me.
But even then, it all depends on how strenuous what you're trying to do is, I
mean, let's be real. As far as fishing is concerned, you need that it factor, number one. And not everybody's got that it factor.
So when you say the it factor, do you mean just kind of have the feel?
Like that person catches fish.
Just
whether it's at a raw level or whatever. But then on top of that, it's just like having raw talent in any sport, right? That talent can only take you so far without the work ethic behind it.
So do you think that someone could put the work ethic in to not have the it factor?
Not in all cases.
Not
if you don't have that factor, it doesn't matter how many hours you spend in the gym, bro. You ain't dunking. You ain't dunking the basketball. That's what I'm saying. You ain't guarding. Somebody in the post that's 6'8". Like
that's just
need that it factor.
But do you think the it factor needs to be like someone that's fishing the tour or something like that?
No. The thing about the tour, I feel like the tour level stuff gets disrespected these days, and they are not appreciated for the context of what they're doing. All right, they're validating everything that's coming out of their mouth, most of the time truthfully, without sponsorship, messiness.
That's a hard one, dude. I mean,
tough.
it is.
It's tough. But in the end of the day, the context of fishing with everything on the line for most of those guys, with that's everything, man. And I feel like sometimes these other creators that have built these massive audiences and have garnered all this attention have mistaken that for the respect that the guys that have put in real work under different contexts should be getting.
Oh yeah, in different circumstances, man. You got to think about everything that they're going through, man. Just like the traveling, the money, the families that they have. A lot of guys, they houses, everything. They put all of that just on the
it's
back
wild,
burner.
man. I got so much respect for anybody that
and I
fishes.
agree.
Just the
I
small
agree.
ones, just the small
Even here
ones,
at home.
The
like,
ABA
yeah.
shit, like
Just
you're
the
doing,
ABA,
yeah, I mean,
or say going to meet or going to Havasu, just for that, just that full 7 days or however long you're there.
See, I think this is
How
where we
much
kind of like effed up though, as like a scene in a group in fishing. Competitive bass fishermen don't want to show what they're doing.
Yeah.
None of us have
That's
ever,
how it
bro.
is.
You know how much hard work, money, time, sweat, like that
Bro.
we've all invested to learn what we've learned, and to just give it up.
Yeah,
it goes against
no.
everything that we were like grown up on.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
now,
man.
like, there's this whole generation of kids that didn't care. They just put out whatever. There's obviously an appetite for it. Dude, they got huge.
Got
And it's
big,
like, what
man.
are they talking about? Like, what? Why is anybody listening to this? Oh, it's because they were willing to talk about anything at that point.
So this is a second question. Since we're on the YouTube thing, I've asked this to C's. I've asked this to a lot of people. What do you consider a professional angler?
If you make money and you make a living off of it,
Off of
that's
it.
not a
Okay.
side hustle.
Hold on now. What if I'm a shit angler, but I make great money off of YouTube? Do you consider me a professional angler?
I mean, if it's derived from fishing,
Yes.
yeah, but let's see what you got.
But that's what I'm saying. That's my problem. So
See,
what you're
yeah,
saying
to me,
is
like-
where I'm at. I'm like, I had this argument where I'm like,
Let's
okay,
validate your concepts that you've spouted all this time. And let's see you either catch big trophy fish on public water or go compete at some level.
Some
tournament,
level.
Club level.
so this is
team
where
level,
my
some-
argument
something.
was 100%, because I said, to me, a professional is like, for instance, I've had this argument with Calico Bass guys because that's what I am. I said, you guys are the top echelon. If it's Mike Lane, Matt Moyer, whoever it is, I go, you guys are the top of the top. And they're like, we're not pros. For Calico, you are, because there's no one else beating you. Like,
Well,
you know
maybe-
what I'm saying? Like,
But you got to understand the context of that term, though, right? According to those stipulations, they're not professional
see,
fishermen.
that's what.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they're not highly skilled fishermen and incredible at what they do. Like, you can't be a professional calico fisherman. The scene's not big enough.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's just not.
It's impossible.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean they're not the best at what they do, like you just described.
So when I think of pro, I guess in my head, I think of the best of the best. I don't think of like you making money. I think of like you're the best basketball player. You're the best baseball player. You play in the NBA. You play, professional baseball, soccer, whatever it is. You're the best. You're the top echelon of the line.
Yeah.
So to me, you're the best of that.
So you're using the term professional like synonymously
Yes,
with the best.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that I think that's where I get the argument, because you could say a guide's a professional. Like Benny,
Absolutely.
Benny's
yeah,
a pro.
Yeah, for sure.
Benny Florentino, he's a pro.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that 100%. He does tournaments and he's a professional. But I mean,
Absolutely.
it's just a hard one, I guess, because when I think of pro, I think of like the top of the tier, But
I mean,
which
most
sometimes
people,
it is.
Yeah, when you think of fishing, anyways, when you say a pro fisherman, right away you're gonna think of like the Elite Series or something like that. I mean, you don't even like you look at even the FLW and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah. They're
But truth be
pros,
told,
but, you know,
Guggen
that's
Squad's-
most
the
people.
Guggen
You
squad
know,
they're pros.
They
They
make-
are, truth be told. They're making them a shitload
They-
of money.
They make a lot of money.
And they're
Yeah.
professionals because they make that money. Like, truth be told, like any of these guys, Fluke Master, Informative Fisherman, all these guys make the money. They make a lot of money off of YouTube, so they're pros. That's my no shitting on them at all.
Yeah.
But what my comparison is like, there's plenty of dudes that are a lot better than them that are pros.
Yeah.
Like,
But
that
see,
are
that's
tournament
different
series.
type of pros. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you think of like a bass fishing pro, you think of somebody that's on the tour.
Yes.
Like hands down. You know what I mean? First at mind when you think of that. But I think the industry has grown so much now that it's like, because you got to think 10 years ago, a pro bass fisherman was somebody on a tour.
At
Like,
least somebody that made
yeah.
their money through bass
Yes.
fishing.
Yeah.
Somebody
You had
that
to-
was
you had to do
actually
it through
like
competitive
labeled
means.
as a pro bass fisherman.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And then with swim baits, I feel like it's a totally different story because it's like its own genre of fishing.
Man, it's its own.
But see
wormhole for sure.
now in this day
all
and
the great
time,
ways,
dude, you
like-
got to think, dude. There's so many people that's holding it down in the industry that's making it grow. I think it's more of like, I think now, like he was saying, like the tournament guys are more kind of being put on the back. You know what I mean?
Being a little disregarded.
Yeah,
because of Instagram and because of
There's
YouTube.
just so
it's like,
much.
And the thing is, a lot of those guys have put a lifetime into becoming the best bass fishermen they can.
They can, man.
So a lot of these dudes are like our age or older, and dude, they don't get this whole technology, social media push, so they're getting left in the dust.
They don't even care to do it.
So that I listened to, is it Luke Duncan's podcast? He's a pro FLW guy, I think, or something. But they talked to him, and they're like, if you had $1 million as a tackle company to invest, what would you do with it? He goes, I'd put a quarter of it into the pro guys, and then I put the rest into influencers. And it's like, it shows you, like, dude, that's how much people think about the professionals. Like, where I'm like, I could tell you the same on this podcast. Like,
right.
I put like Tom White did great. Certain guys did great. But if I put like a Mike Gilbert or like a Manny or something like that, numbers go up. Butch Brown, they go through the roof, dude.
Yeah, for
sure. You know, because it's just like, that's influencers.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's what it is. That's
it's so crazy nowadays.
The hype is, that's what everybody's like paying attention to.
Yeah, 100%. So here's a question for you that since we're going back to your whole swim bait thing, do you think that being a conventional fisherman helped work on your
it's the only reason I keep catching them everywhere I go. Don't get that twisted, people.
Yeah, there you go.
I can score in the paint. I can make free throws, mid-range, leaner, bank shots, deep pull-ups. I can do all of that.
So that's what I'm trying to get at. But do you think that built your form as a swim bait fisherman?
Absolutely, because I saw parallels that I could apply in a bigger, in a bigger form. And I've had enough muscle memory built in from the fundamentals and high engagement rates of catching fish all these traditional ways. And I'm like, oh, dude, I could throw a big bait the exact same way as I'm throwing this big jerk bait. Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, look at that. It worked. Mm-hmm. But I'm ready, and I know what to anticipate. And I know how to hopefully react in the very small case that I actually get a fish to commit to eating a big bait. My odds of actually hooking and landing that fish go up. Yeah. Because of all of my traditional experience.
That's what the only reason I ask that. I feel like, could it be missed nowadays?
Man, I see so many dudes.
Do you think that's a luck deal? Like, so when people are throwing the big baits, you're just kind of getting lucky on,
I mean, there's always an element of chance involved.
Yes.
Right? And if you do something enough.
That's really what it comes down to. You're eventually, it's going to happen. It's going to happen for you.
I mean,
here's a question for you, Carnell. What do you do because I've seen your tournament wins lately, especially night.
My man has been on fire.
Dude. So how do you incorporate the big bait when you're tournament fishing? Because, like, you got to think, like, am I getting bit? Do I need to throw this right now? Like, what's going on through your mind?
Well, it really comes down to, like, you say time of year. Or, like, for instance, the night tournaments, man. I mean, summertime, it's night. Bro, like, when we were younger, we used to throw big worms, big 10, 12-inch worms, you know what I mean? So, like he said, it's just, like, it's kind of the same concept. Like, I'm thinking of, like, when I was fishing back in the day at nighttime, pretty much. And I'm like, okay, well, back then, before I was throwing swim baits, I was chucking a big worm, catching larger size fish. So for me, I'm always trying to get a bigger bite because a lot of the tournaments, a lot of guys will play it safe, and playing it safe, you're not gonna win, bro. Like you get up there, you get close, you get a third or you get a fourth or fifth or something like that. It's like most of the time I'm like, dude, I want to win, bro. Like I'm going to get that W.
And here's the thing about if you really want to win, you got to be okay with losing.
You got to be okay with losing. Like sometimes
go big or go home, bro.
Yeah, sometimes that bite's not gonna pan out. Yeah, it's just not. But if you learn it enough and you know how these fish are positioned and you know what they're doing, bro, you could duplicate that just over and over and over, and it all comes down to time of period. Like I said, it's just it's that perfect time of period.
So you're using that. It's like a tool. It's a tool.
I incorporate it. It has to do with seasons too. You know what I mean? When that bite's on, it's on, bro.
Yeah. No, just because I feel like it's cool to hear from a tournament guy talk about swim bait fishing.
Yeah.
Because you get a lot of guys that just swim bait fish, but having a tournament guy talk about it, using it as a tool, like you and Kelly, and there's been a couple guys like where I'm like, wow, you know, like that's pretty interesting to go.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't consider it like if I'm gonna drop shot or throw swim bait or whatever it might be. You think the same, Oliver?
I think the tendency for us to keep labeling everybody is limiting, and what's the term I'm looking for here? It's
Like labeling you as a swim bait fisherman,
Yeah,
or
or even
conventional?
him as a tournament angler.
Yeah,
Like,
it's just
it's
a,
limiting.
So what would you consider someone? Just a fisherman, period.
That's what I consider myself.
Okay,
I mean,
but you do something
someone-
different because you fish everything, all the time, muskie, everything.
and I'm trying to continue to validate, like, hey man, like I can duplicate success everywhere I go because of all that experience and the fundamentals.
different species of fish. Like, I
And at
mean,
the end of the-
barramundi, he was doing the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, like it's most of the stuff I learned here at home in Southern California, chasing the biggest bass I could find. But like even just labeling Carnell as a tournament angler right now, I feel is It's not
I
good.
guess I say that because I see it. You know
no,
what
no,
I'm
I
saying?
hear you, but
No,
like we
yeah,
all kind of have a
because-
tendency to do
Yeah,
that, right?
yeah,
He's a this
exactly.
guy, he's a that guy, but like he can do that,
Yeah.
right? Maybe he can. He's more than that. And there's a weird sense in all the different fishing cultures that I've been able to experience and continue to penetrate and learn about. There's this weird idea that if you don't do this only, you're not as good as a guy that does.
I agree.
When I would argue like up and down that you are absolutely wrong.
So like I've made this comparison the last like 2 or 3 podcasts. My uncle, bass backwards 30 years, drop shot guy. That's what these old fucking guys do, right? He kills it. He catches fives
What did
and
he do
six.
before 2001?
I don't fucking know. Crankbaits,
Probably split
you know,
shot.
yeah, whatever it might be. But what you know what I'm saying? It's like these dudes love drop shot, and now
Yeah.
that's how I learned how to fish on a drop
Yeah.
shot. So when it gets hard for me, I'm at DVL, throw a fucking drop shot.
Yeah. The thing
Margarita
about a
mule,
drop
you know
shot,
what I'm
it's
saying?
like,
It's like
you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like almost a for sure.
hey,
getting
but now you're
bit
shitting on
type
it.
thing. You know,
You're doing what Oliver was talking about right now, right?
To a
Hey,
degree.
You are because like you know what I'm saying.
Hey,
You're,
but the funny thing is there's times where I have to do it. You know, I try not to. You know, but I could tell you sometimes I've caught some big fish on
yes,
drop shot. You know,
yeah.
Yeah, you have.
That's why
For
you
sure.
have to, you know, you just have to know. That's what it is. You have to know when and when not. That's how I see it.
You gotta have an open mind. That's the biggest thing, and honestly,
It's
have a
being
mind of your
well-rounded.
own.
Yeah, you got to be, and it's all like that no factor, dude. There's times where some of those big fish you see have been on the drop shot. So like,
You don't feel like you need to say that, but guess what?
yeah,
And it's like that's what pretty much I'm feeding into what you're saying, Oliver, is that you get shit for catching fish on the drop shot, but it's no worse than doing anything else like a jerk bait. It's another tool.
It's another tool,
and you
bro.
could go somewhere else in another country and do the
And,
same
and
thing.
remember, I spent years trying to force feed them a big bait.
Yeah.
Years. So I learned when I probably shouldn't be throwing it, more importantly,
When you
as well as
should,
when I probably should be. So in those times when I shouldn't be throwing it, like I've learned, like, man, I can have a lot of fun, catch a bunch of fish, and still have a shot at a really good fish because of the situation and the
Yeah.
circumstances of the
Yeah.
time.
It's all about the know, man.
Like-
You just gotta know when.
And when I see dudes trying to like beat their chest because they catch their fish a certain way and like that's
Only.
superior to somebody else's, like,
Yeah.
that's ridiculous. Like,
But why even pay attention to it at the same time? Who gives a shit, right?
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
That's how
Yeah.
I see it, man.
I think there's
But I'm sure you get tagged. I mean, you got a huge Instagram, so it's like you probably get tagged in all kinds of shit. You're like,
Oh,
what the
it's
fuck?
almost all positive. Man.
Yeah,
It's
and
crazy.
even if some, like whatever it might be, you're a busy guy between your personal and the actual big bass stream,
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
You sound a little stressed out, Oliver.
It's good
No.
stress.
So when we talked, you were talking about entering the Bassmaster Open this year.
Ooh,
Is that still happening?
maybe.
Possibly.
Not that I need to
I
validate
think that's
myself
cool.
or anything.
I think that's really cool for you to go, hey, I could do it.
Man, it's fishing, right?
Right? Same thing. You're going to use all the same techniques and just do what you
Yeah, I'm
what
gonna
you
use
know.
a fishing rod, some
It's
line,
been in
and a hook.
play. It's been in play for a while. I mean, he's been.
So here's the thing, man. Like, people might not understand that I grew up tournament fishing, whether it was a club
Yeah.
level, team level,
Straight
whatever, for most of my adult life. So I just decided to step away from it because of the drama that came with anything involving money and people's egos and this, that, and a third. And I was like, man, this is kind of like putting me in a position mentally where I don't like it. Like, I'm just going to go chase big fish. Like, that's what I'm getting my high off of right now.
So you don't have to deal with anyone. You don't see anyone.
Yeah, I
you
can
just
be
kinda do, yeah.
exactly. I can go do my own thing. Like, I'm not worried about like being on the water when I don't need to be on the water. Like, I'm not forced to fish a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally on my own terms, and it's really kind of led me into my lifestyle now. And even now, if I do decide to fish the opens, it's because it'll be on my own terms.
But what would make you want to do that though?
So
Like,
I've
is there a
leveraged.
trigger?
I've been leveraging my way into a position growing up in La Puente with nothing, right? To be able to go in there swinging and fish without fear of failure.
Okay, so,
So
like
like,
you don't have to
I don't
worry
need to
about.
make the cut to make a
Yeah.
check to pay for the next
There you go.
tournament. Like, I
Exactly.
don't need that stress.
So you're doing it as almost a fun thing.
Oh, it's gonna be super fun if I
yeah.
do it.
Okay.
And that's the reminder
gotta
I want
make
to
it
give
that
people. Like,
way.
yo, man, like, this is fishing. This is supposed to be fun. And even at the highest level, like, if that isn't the why, maybe you should take a step back and kind of reconsider why you're fishing,
I agree 100%.
even at the highest level.
Do you
Like,
do it all
seriously.
for fun too? When you've entered the ABA tournament, you're like,
Oh, definitely.
It's fun
just
as hell
fun,
winning, ain't it?
right?
Straight up. It's, but yeah, like I say, even when it's tough, bro, like, it just makes you stronger.
Yeah.
Like, I thrive off of it being tough and getting humbled. You know what I mean? It makes me just get mad and want to learn even more. And that's what it comes down to, man. There's so much to learn out there, bro. You're never gonna be an angler that just dominates like forever.
Nobody, not even Kevin Van Dam.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Look, it's like
It's
there's
like with
gonna
any
be a
sport.
time-
Like, there's a time where you're gonna eat shit, and it's gonna happen sooner
And
or
in
later.
fishing, it's going to be more than not.
more than
Yeah.
not for
Even
sure.
if you're the best. Like,
That's why
seriously.
if you're on something, bro, you gotta ride. You gotta run with it. And that's exactly
with
what-
music. Let's talk about that a little bit because I
Let's do
feel
it.
we have a little bit in common with that. Talk about your career, like how you came about, how you started riding, everything.
Shoot, man, it goes back. Well, I wouldn't say further than fishing because I started fishing when I was 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I started riding when I was 12 years old. And junior. I mean, I've been in hip hop my whole life, even at 6 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Here's a fun fact. I didn't really listen to music growing up. And hanging out with this dude as a young teenager and him bumping that When Disaster Strikes from Busta Rhymes all day, every day while we were
Straight
fishing, introduced me to hip hop.
So good, dude.
Yep.
All right.
It's crazy, man. Like, I've been music my whole life. Grew up in my family with music. Nobody was really musicians, but my parents always played, Motown,
Yeah.
everything. So, and then for me, it's like I just started gravitating to music a lot because I always danced as a young kid. I was always the young kid, like, dancing all around the house. And then from there, like, started taking dancing serious and, like, actually being into groups and performing and just doing all kinds of stuff. Like I said, before I was even riding, I was dancing. So it was like me, the Black Eyed Peas. It was a group called the Soul Jerks, the Lords. I mean, there's so many groups.
The Alcoholics.
The Alcoholics
Remember
was
them?
more.
They were down this way more.
Yeah,
right?
they were more. They were
Yeah.
more of MCs too, though,
Yeah.
at the time. But everybody kind of like, even with the Far Side, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We all kind of were like, we're all dancers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Then we started writing and started making music. So that's where it kind of started with me. Is like 12 years old, started writing, and just kept going with it. Got into high school, took it even more serious, and started doing shows, started doing open mics, and straight out of high school, got my first record deal. And
Who'd you sign with?
I saw at the time it was called Grand Royal, which was a BC Boys label. Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah.
Remember DFL?
Yeah, I do.
That was a big band I used to like too a lot.
So that's who it signed.
That's a big label.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Signed with Grand Royal first.
Can you still get was it an EP, LP?
It was an album actually. It was a full album with the group I was with. It was a collective of us. You know, back then, like everybody, like Project Blowed, like you know, everybody ran in like cliques and stuff. So, it was a big collective of us, and it was called the Mystics. We were called the Mystics, and that was my very first record deal straight out of high school, touring with, you know, it was kind of like on the same deal as like the Hieroglyphics. We actually, we toured with the Hieroglyphics and stuff like that. And, you know, that's really where it started, man. Like back then.
When did that kind of like turn off a little?
So after that, after the Mystics, we dropped the album, and then our record label had lost distribution at the time. So like a lot of our second album and stuff like that was kind of like on hold. So a lot of the members within that clique kind of branched out, and we started doing our own thing, which we were all individually members anyways, like artists. There was a few solo artists, and then there was like two groups within the full group, and that was one of my groups, which was called Non-Human Intelligence, NHI. So we branched out, and we were kind of still under the label, but as a unit by ourselves, we weren't signed, you know what I mean? So we were able to do our own music. So we started doing our own music, dude, and then that really, really took off for us, you know, and we kind of independently was doing our own music, you know what I mean? Like under no label, just recording our own stuff, putting our own stuff out. And, you know, and we won this MTV competition on MTVU. And then that's how we got, like, our first two videos on MTV. And then at that time, too, probably by then, we had already been doing a lot of shows for a few years, though. And it really started getting, like, we really started blowing up towards the end, which was probably, like, around 2009, 2010. And, we had just signed a contract with Coachella to rock Coachella. We used to rock Rock the Bells. Like, we used to do Rock the Bells, and you know, so Coachella was like the last big show we were supposed to do, and one of our members, he had left to Japan for a while, and you know, and at the same time, like we had a lot of stuff going on with MTV, and you know, we had just did an interview with Vibe magazine, and just a bunch of stuff happening like that. It was just bubbling, you know what I mean? Everything was bubbling and happening. But at the same time, it was like we had been doing it for so long, you know what I mean? Like, and it's finally starting to happen, but then we're getting older and we're starting to have families, and it's just like,
was there any kind of burnout?
It was never a burnout. I think for me, like I was ready
to go. It was a burnout like a motherfucker for me.
No, so the only thing is, like, as you get, I think it's more like the members. You know what I'm saying? Like, just trying to all stay collectively.
You being with members too, you feel like you get burnt out on dudes. Like,
yeah,
and it's you love them, but
do.
it's too much.
Yeah, because some of them just kind of start being like on their own thing. You know what I mean? Like, kind of want to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like how it happened. We usually were on the same accord though, but kind of towards the end, man, it just got tough, you know.
No, I bet
it got really tough. So just like this person, just like, man, like he would just, one of our members wasn't really in the creative process. Me and my other cat was. So
he would just show
up. He would just show up to record. You know what I'm saying? But I respect. He would always come with his verses and stuff like that.
Were they solid though? Like,
always.
Then you're. That's where it's like, man, I can't.
That's what I'm saying. Like all my cats, we always had solid verses, but the creativity part is where it comes, dude. Creating the songs, producing the songs, coming up with the concepts. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the hard part. When you already have a concept and a chorus, and you let somebody hear it, you could write a verse like nothing. You know what I'm saying?
No,
but
I agree.
It's just like creating the actual song is the tough part. So, and then being in the studio, like engineering it, making it sound like it's supposed to sound, spending hours and hours of, you know, sitting behind a board, having headphones on, in front of monitors, just like, you know, that was me and my other boy. Like, so he kind of left, and like when he got back, he was just like, bro, like, is this what we're gonna continue to do? Just like me and you continue to do this, and then the other one just come in whenever he wants and record verses, you know, and it's just like,
too much.
It's too much.
You
man.
weren't fishing at that time at all.
So I would say from like straight out of high school, no, I wasn't fishing at all at that time. By that time, well, no, I take that back. So straight out of high school, I was fishing, but it was a very small time, because then at that time, like, I started leaving and I started touring and stuff like that. And then I think after the music, like, I think I came back, it was like around 2010, like right when things musically, we were kind of like, you know, just still doing it, but we weren't just like hitting it hard like we were.
And this is when I started hearing murmurs of him
Being back
being
around.
one person removed again.
Yeah.
Right? 1 degree of separation.
Right? Yeah.
Like, oh, I fish with this cat named Carnell. And I'm like, what?
Well,
I know him.
straight up. And that's how me and this dude linked back, dude.
You know, it's crazy.
A
I
weird
did
ass
the
story.
same thing with so I have dudes. I played in hardcore bands and punk bands when I was younger, and that's what toured. And dudes in really big bands were into fishing, and we opened for them, and we played with them, and I knew them, and they're like, "Hey, you know, he's a big kayaking, like he's a tournament angler, kayak guy." I'm like, "No way!" Like 3 of my friends, I'm like, "Oh shit!" And I've had them on the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, they move back east. Some of them they make swim baits. They do like. I'm like, damn, it's like a small world with music.
Yeah,
because you'll
for
find
sure.
a guy that likes to fish.
I think it's one of the dopest things about fishing, right? How we can bring people from all parts of life
yeah.
together.
All ages as
For
well.
sure.
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
You sit next to someone at a bar, and it could be the most different person from you,
Yeah.
no matter what.
Yes.
And if you hear him bring up anything fishing, it's like, yo, hold on, what?
Yeah. That's the dope thing, though, because I remember me and him, we had did the Fred Hall show that year. And out of the blue, man, and this cat was a really big influence for me coming up in music as well. I mean, we rock shows together. His name is AC Alone from he's from Inner City Griots is the name of the Freestyle Fellowship.
Oh, no way.
So AC Alone.
I remember Freestyle Fellowship.
Dude,
Yeah.
So we're chilling, and I'm
He walks him up to me. He's like, yo, do you know who this is? And I'm looking at this, you know, slightly like salt and pepper dude. And I'm just like, no. Man, that's AC Alone. I'm like,
bro,
oh,
that's
'cause I know who that is.
Alone, Freestyle
I'm a
Fellowship.
hip-hop
No, that's
you know?
Freestyle Fellowship
So
is like,
he was
dude.
at the Fred Hall show,
Yeah.
Just
buying gear,
just
and
being
like,
a fishing
yeah.
geek. And I was like, yo, man, I'd love to use some of your tracks on
Yo.
like the next DVD. He's like, man, F all that nonsense. Let's go fishing.
Yo.
Like, I'm like, pfft, all right.
Straight up.
It's a small world. Like I went to Marita Gaff's, and he's like, "Oh, this is it for Kurt Sutter." I'm like, "Kurt Sutter." I'm like, "Sons of Anarchy." He's like, "Yeah, this is his gaff." I'm like, "You fucking kidding me?" Yeah, he just got into fishing with this COVID shit. I'm like, "Fuck that."
Dude, 6 to 8 million new anglers this year.
Dude, from COVID, I'm sure, man. I'm sure.
crazy.
Like, you find a lot of people that I have friends that go, "Hey, let's go rock fish." I'm like, "What the fuck? You never want to fish before." Yeah, let's try it. I want to catch fish.
Oh,
I'm like,
man.
"All right, whatever," you know?
Welcome all these new anglers with open arms, people. And I'm telling you
Yeah,
why. This is
seriously.
to fulfill your own selfish desires
Yep.
to keep catching fish instead of bitching that there's more people fishing on your lakes. Now you have more support just in the national scene to
Yes.
help
It's
support
growth,
what
man.
you love.
Yes.
Yep,
Because you
growth.
bitch about these new people coming in and crowding. Like everybody in the outdoors is complaining about all these new people. Hikers, mountain
Yeah.
bikers. Because now people are forced to go outside. It's like, oh, I used to have this to myself. Well, it's a really selfish point
Yeah,
of view.
for sure, that
and
is, really.
ultimately self-defeating. Because if you don't have the numbers of participation, you're not going to have the leverage to keep being able to do what you want to do. Look how hard it is. Well, this is tough for people in the Southern California bubble to understand, like, because we've been conditioned to just accept it and know no other way. But like, bro, like, I don't have to go through inspection lines across the country.
How is that,
I can
man?
fish until I'm over it, no matter what time
Hey,
of day or
nighttime
night.
doesn't matter. Huh?
I
Okay,
know, don't
but-
matter, dude.
Without that support of more people fishing or doing whatever it is you like, you're not going to have the leverage to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that's straight up, because I see dudes here at home like bitching and whining. Like, bro, if you're so good, you keep catching them anyway.
Yeah, right?
Regardless.
Come on, hot shot.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, like, that's always a poor excuse. And there should never be excuses, right? That's why we did that no excuses shirt.
Yeah.
Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how many people are fishing your lake. It doesn't matter this, that, and the third. It doesn't matter if they stop stocking
exactly.
trout. If there's
Don't
still big
matter.
fish in there, there's
You
still a way to
should.
Do you
catch
feel
them.
like people homer the home lakes too much? Like they just sit on their own
Oh
lake?
yeah, and then
Big
there
time,
comes a
dude.
weird sense of entitlement, like,
You
oh,
think?
this is my lake, and I get it because like we've all been there. We've put in the time and the blood, sweat, and tears, and we've been out there when there's nobody out there, right? So we feel like we've earned the right to fish a lake, a spot, an area, and then when somebody just shows up, and the worst part is when they catch one, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh
You're
man,
like,
this
damn.
bastard.
What's your guys' home lake? What's your home lake?
Man, dude, Southern California. How's that?
Pretty
There you
much.
go.
All of them. Dude,
How's
you
that,
thinking
man?
about. I
'Cause,
mean,
like-
if you think about where we first started, though, we would
Pud.
say, yep,
It's
Pud,
the Pud.
Pudding
Yeah.
Stone. But from there goes Paris, goes Castaic, Lower Lagoon, Castaic,
so?
goes
Yeah.
See, I spent a ton of time with
Pyramid,
Silverwood,
Pyru,
all of them.
Silverwood. I mean, dude.
We've been
I
around
love
this a
Silverwood,
long
man. That's
time,
my
man.
shit right there.
Yeah.
This fucking thing. Is
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
killing
guys.
you.
I can fucking hear. I
Oh,
mean,
it's
we
bad.
won't be able to hear it on the air when
Oh,
we do the
okay.
thing, but I'll hear it and I'll be like, "What the fuck, man?" You know? But I mean, yeah, I mean that's knowing. There's no home lake, like you were saying. Like you fish everything.
Bro,
it
it's
doesn't
all
matter.
public lakes.
Yeah.
They're public. You don't own anything on
I
that
think
lake.
people more.
Oh, do you feel like people
say-
still pull it out where they go,
Sometimes, man. It's a
"Yo, you're
weird
on my
deal.
spot," or "Yo, you're on
And
my."
I've had dudes I become really good friends with try to pull stuff like that on me, like, and like, yo, man, hold on, I was fishing your lake before you were fishing, homie. Like,
You got some good questions like this too. There's some really good lake questions, or like pulling out fish at certain lakes, or so. But let's dive into your big fish really quick,
okay,
just so you can tell the whole story, like how it all came about. In case, I'm sure people have heard it, but they probably want to hear it again. It's a huge fish, man.
well, it's documented.
Yeah,
Cast to catch to scale on YouTube. All right, got it on 3 different angles.
that's crazy.
This is the year after I caught 17 fish, 10 pounds or bigger in a 7-week span.
What year was that?
2012.
Wow,
I got burnt out. I was bouncing like 11s and looking at them in disgust
must
they
be nice.
because they weren't 15s, because I wanted something so
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Right. Because I was putting in work. I was that guy. I was the one on the lake literally 5, 6, 7 days a week from open to close. And I put in the work, and I was living some wild stuff, all of which a lot of people saw through volume 1, or what's called the beginning on the YouTube series.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's actually when Carnell and I kind of linked back like solid, and I was like, yo, wait till you see like some of the stuff I figured out. All right, he was
crazy,
on
bro.
the boat with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, for a lot
real.
of this, like every day, bro, I was just in this different zone that came from experience and being on the water and just being able to pivot and make small adjustments continuously.
He was dialed, bro, big time.
And everybody that was fishing with me at the time was trying to chase what I was doing even that day or the day before, or I'm already on the next cast. Like, so it was just a
So
whole
when you
mindset
people
thing.
knew you were chasing that fish, they were coming up behind you going, "Oh, I'm gonna catch it too."
Not understanding that it's such a
Yes,
complex thing,
I get
because
what
like
you're saying.
even my homies in the same boat were
Yeah.
not catching them. And
Because you were doing
dude,
the math every day.
Absolutely. And at the time, Carnell was already an accomplished traditional technique fisherman.
Yes.
And he stuck with it, man. Like, but like really dived deep in with the big bait stuff. And I'm like, bing,
It took,
bing. And he's just
it
like,
took me
what
a while,
the?
dude.
It's
it
not
took
as,
a while.
yeah. And he saw firsthand, it's not as easy as having the bait or being in the spot or on the lake. Dude, it's so complex. Because there were other guys that were putting in time on that lake with me that year. And most of those guys had phenomenal seasons too. But dude, I was on one.
Yeah, he was on
I was
totally
on one,
different.
man.
Which makes sense. Like it happened. You read about it. You look at it. You know, it's on Instagram now. You'll see these guys just go off.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I
And it's a
mean,
real thing.
yeah.
Momentum and but like confidence and just wanting to get better.
I think confidence is a big thing too, right?
But see, you got to earn your confidence. What you see a lot of times on social, especially like these new guys that see a little bit of success, they get a little overzealous, right? And instead of earning more confidence and the respect that comes with that, they jump the gun and get a little arrogant. And then worse, they throw other people in the dirt to try to make themselves, feel better. And there's no need for that. Like, bro,
no, I get it.
If you're good at something, somebody else can be good at it too.
That's cool. That's a great.
That's the whole
comment.
thing with just being humble, man.
Yeah,
and that's why I think
I'm telling you, man, I don't go at nobody with no negative energy.
No, you can't.
I've met some incredible people, a lot of incredible fishermen, and the one thing I've learned is people that are at the top of their game, they don't have time for that negative stuff. Dude, they just want to talk to other people that are doing dope stuff too.
Or just dudes that are happy. How about that? You need a dude I feel like I met Carnell first. I was like, this dude's so happy.
Yeah,
he's just
always happy.
He's like, you love what you're fucking doing. I'm like, hey, I want to send you some shit. I talked to a couple guys that say you're fucking cool. I just want to send it to you, and you fucking sport it. Yeah, so I'm like, wow, this guy's cool as fuck. You meeting guys that are happy is rare, kind of nowadays.
It is, unfortunately,
especially in this industry. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Well, I
think fishing,
just don't let the things we should be stressing about in life, like where we grew up, dude, we had way worse things to stress over.
Gang members.
Real talk, man. Like, people were getting killed, in front of where we lived.
Oh, I went to high school in South Whittier. I watched dudes get shot at Cal High, dude. It's
real talk, man. Yeah. So, to have any reason to be on some negative trip in fishing is so lame. It's so dumb. Because you get to sit back and think about, man, I got to pay my mortgage. I got to pay this. I got health issues. I mean, everybody's got a health issue now, right? With COVID, that's got the whole world in this domino effect. Dude, stress on other things. Don't stress on fishing. That should be everybody's escape and opportunity to have fun.
But I guess I feel like a lot of people try to make money off of it, maybe.
Well, see, I can never.
And I feel like it's a different outlook. I feel like you got to put the time in. And you got to not make money for a long time to even get close to it.
Very fair. Yeah. I had this conversation with my friend that I was fishing with today. Okay. And it's about a new angler jumping on his juice that he kind of spent time mentoring this kid. And now he's got a guide license and he's taking clients out after 3 months of success.
Yeah.
Wow,
right. But you're absolutely right, man. I didn't start doing training sessions until 2014. And dude, I've been fishing for decades at that point, and I wasn't sure if I was ready for that, to be honest. It's one thing to try to execute ideas and techniques and philosophies on your own when you're in control of your own motor control.
Yes.
Now you got somebody else making a cast, and you got
to make sure they do it right.
I'm telling you, bro, especially if their aim is to catch the biggest fish of their life, it is not easy.
It's not easy at all.
Yeah, and especially if they're going at the time, you're probably the swim bait guy, so it's you want to catch a swim bait fish like you.
A lot of that was, but now it's been a lot of fun because I've been able to embrace a lot of these newer anglers that honestly just want to learn the fundamentals, and that actually sets them up to have successes with me when I see opportunities for them to go chase the biggest fish of their life. It's hey, remember all those times we were fishing jerk baits? This is just like that.
Right?
But you're only going to get one bite. But be ready for it. And that base
I'd
of
be
experience.
nah, let's just fish jerk baits. Fuck that.
And that's fine too, man. But here's the thing, man. Fishing can be whatever you want it to be. And whatever that is, you shouldn't let somebody else's opinion affect your decision or desire to go fish a certain way, because ultimately every fly fisherman thinks we're idiots, right?
I think I heard you say that before on one of your videos.
It's funny because I got a lot of fly fishing friends now at the top of the game, so but it goes both ways, right? So it's ridiculous at the end of the day, and it's ridiculous within bass fishing especially. So.
I mean, it's I think just part of the game too, as well.
Yeah, but going back to that, I'm not gonna be mad at somebody for trying to flip it into a potential way to support themselves, so they can do
what you've done.
Right. But there's also ways of doing it without disrespecting someone or offending them, or doing it for the right reasons. Ultimately, I think plays out better in the long run.
Yeah.
Right. Don't jump the gun, like you said.
No, that's what I said. I've done this for 2.5 years.
Because you're kind of at that.
I don't make any money. I'm about to. Hopefully, I do soon. But I didn't think when I started it was just a fun thing. Then it
Yeah.
kind of got bigger.
Right.
And that's
then
what's
kinda
good.
like,
It started
I
out
was like,
that way, dude.
I mean, Riley's fucking seen me do it for, I bet a year ago, you know, like, I've been doing it for a long time, you know, like, so it's like, I never thought anything was going to come out of it. I get some free shit, cool. You know, I'm like, I'm stoked. Like, I get some free rods.
No,
Fuck
absolutely.
yeah, dude.
I never thought I'd be doing what I do. Man,
And I still have a full-time job. I still do
Right.
my full-time job. So it's kind of like I do my full-time job. I have 3 boys and a wife. I love you. And Oliver's my
I know,
wife.
you got to always say.
And I mean, you know, so it's kind of like, I feel like if you're not trying to make money, in my head, you'll be
Dude, it's
successful.
always
How about
better.
that?
It's always
Yeah,
If you're
better.
not trying to make money, you'll
that's
be
fair.
successful.
It's always better.
But
you
even
know?
if you are, like, if you just remember that the fundamental why should be fun, right? And if you're contributing positively to the game, I'm okay with you making money. If you're actually helping
But see,
the
the
culture
money,
grow,
it'll come.
It's
the
go.
same.
Like, it's like, dude,
Yeah, it's
if
the
it
same
leaves,
way.
it's like, I still have fun talking
If
to you
you
guys.
if you
learning
have
stuff.
the
sure.
passion, dude,
You know?
and you really love something and you want to be the best of it, and you do it, dude, the money will be there.
Yeah.
that's
It's
real.
the same way of making music, dude. Like you can't start making music to make money. You're gonna be whack.
This is
You're gonna be
this
whack
is
as
like,
shit,
you're talking to
like,
me. So
you know
when
what I
I,
mean?
dude, when I
Because
talk
think
to
about when you first started it. When I was making music, I wasn't
God.
even thinking about making money. I just love to make music and think about making something doper than my homies over here that's in the studio making music too. You know what I mean? That's all it came down to.
or to me, it was making something good enough to play with my buddies shows, so everyone came to see everyone. So like when I do the podcast, I'm like, there's plenty of other people that do it. There's Anglers Chronicles, there's Let's Talk Hookup, there's people back east, there's people up north, but it's just like my own take. And in the beginning, I'm like, this is kind of like my band again. I haven't been in a band for like 7 years. Okay. And then you get more people listening to it. Then you do a live show. And then you get a couple hundred people show up. You're like, oh, fuck yeah. So I feel like it's almost like a band.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. It's
straight
like
up, when you
I'm
first
playing
start.
again, you know?
Yeah.
Even though I fucking hate talking in front of everyone, you know? But it's kind of something different. But let's get back on your big fish. And then I want to do some questions as well. Like I have a decent amount of questions from fans.
Sure.
So-
So the next year, actually, I fell into a slump. 2013. I caught some fish with my boy Jimmy down in San Diego. Kind of got me back in motion after blanking on a lake that I smashed him on. Right? And I'm like, yo, what is going on? You know what happened? Fishing. Humbled me. Okay. And, you know, I'm at Scott Whitmer's house. He makes a triple trout.
Yeah,
And, You know, he had Whitney Curry working with him at the time. And he had told me about this lake I had never heard of. Like, dude, I never really went. It's in Northern California or Central California. He's like, yeah, there's this lake above Pedro. Because I did fish Don Pedro. I fished a heavyweight bass classic tournament up there. It was like HBC3. And that was like a swim bait fishing theme, but not really. Like, it was just one fish takes all kind of format. 100 anglers. It was like, I think $100. I forgot what the buy-in was, but it was like 10 grand. Like, winner take it all. My math is not really good right now. I've been up since 5 a.m. It's really simple. It's like 2 decimal spaces. I'm really disappointed in myself right now. But anyway, that lake, New Melones, is actually like an hour north of there. So I was like, oh, okay, I kind of know where that is. And I was like, well, are there big fish in it? Because I knew there was big fish in Pedro. And he actually, well, here, check this out. And he showed me this picture of this monster bass. It was 17 pounds, 12 ounces. Oh, wow. I'm like, okay, well, there's that. There's big ones in there.
Those big ones in
So
there.
let's do a little road trip. So we caravaned up there. Took my buddy Dave's blue tracker, the one famously without any carpet on the front
all
there.
Is that the
I
one you
remember
caught it
that.
in?
Oh,
Yeah, it's still at the house right now, actually.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I literally just saw it. We still got it, man. That was a fishy boat. So we towed that thing 8 hours north and went to this lake sight unseen. And dude, I didn't have topo maps or anything. I didn't even have
Nothing,
electronics
bro.
back then. So we just went in there blind, and you just kind of fish off your gut. We got there like at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. What date was it? It was like a Sunday, I think. And we're kind of going down this big lake, and it's like the third biggest lake in California, so it's not a little lake. And we're going like halfway down, and we go into this big bay, and I kind of signal to them, like, it kind of, because it splits, like it kind of forks at this point. And I'm like, you guys go right, I'm like, go left. All right, and then kind of try to meet in the middle. So I just keep going. They split up, a few hundred yards down the bank, I spy this long fingering, tapering point coming way off. I'm like, oh, that looks like a good spot to start. But I always slide into my primary spots on the secondary areas. So I slid into this cove with this little secondary point on it and then worked my way up. And you'll see on the video on the cast to catch scale.
I've seen it, yeah.
I mean, I probably still have the raw video of me actually coming off pad, putting the trolling motor down, and working the 22 minutes it was to that point of that fish catch. Yeah. But I was throwing a Hinkle trout at the time, which was brand new. I don't think he was selling them publicly. And I raised like a 5-pounder, 6-pounder, something like that right away. I'm like, oh, well, that's cool. And I roll up on that point, and I throw it across the point, and I got a big one coming up on it, like 10, 11-pound class, maybe a little bigger. I'm not really sure. Water's pretty clear, 8, 10-foot visibility. But I could read the fish's body language because of experience. And I'm like, she's probably not going to eat this hard bait right now. It was big enough to draw her attention.
Yes.
Right? So I'm like, all right. And actually the day before, I fished a tournament on Diamond Valley with my buddy Alex Kim, Gully.
Yeah.
Right? And he actually had a Batesmith Magnum with him that was brand new that he brought to the tournament, right, with the intention of maybe throwing it. And at the end of the day, I looked at it on my console. I was like, hey, yo, you're not going home with that. I don't care what you guys...
I just wouldn't have said shit and put it into my fucking line.
But here's the funny thing, right? Like, I've been around so long. Like, I remember when those things first hit the retail market at $39.99, okay? And nobody wanted them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. I remember giving a couple to guys for retail, $40, and they're looking at me like I robbed them. And I'm like, yo, like, okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny now that everybody clamors all over them.
Any bait, though. Any bait like that.
Because they think it's a missing piece of the puzzle. But anyways, back to the story. So I'm like, hey, yo, I only have one of them. I need a backup or whatever. Because I've been catching fish on that bait. And actually the first generation of them, too, where they're actually white, solid bodies.
White, yeah, it's different.
Not the clear stuff that Eric's making them out of now. I wanted to have a good selection of tools because I didn't know what to expect.
Yes.
So if you see any of that early stuff, you see any of my content now, like, bro, my deck is a mess. It gives people with ADD,
quick question.
like anxiety.
Were you only throwing big baits for fish, or were you trying anything? Only big baits?
Okay. Dude, like 9 rods on the deck in that video, all 8-inch, 9-inch, 10-inch, 11, 12-inch baits, all big baits.
Okay.
Because I see opportunities to implement them anywhere anybody can throw a regular bass bait is ultimately what it comes down to. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I see this big fish come up on the Hinkle trout. I'm like, she's probably not going to eat it. So thinking I'm going to try to catch that fish, I put down the Hinkle trout, pick up that same Batesmith Magnum I got from Gully. Big shout out Gully. Put the Bass Dynasty on there, and it was still a prototype kind of.
Yeah, I remember you used to.
He didn't even have a name for it.
Yeah.
Like it was just, here, try this stuff out.
Black bottle.
And fire off this cast off this point, let it sink to the bottom, knowing there's a big fish on it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I've done this before. And halfway through the cast, you see me like bump. There's rock. Oh, I can feel like one of the small like manzanita bushes coming through, pop it, and you see me like pick up my pace to get up over the bush and boom. I'm like, oh, I know that feeling. Crack. And this is me like starting to learn how to like pay attention to the camera and a potential audience down the line, right? And I'm showboating a little bit. I'm like, 10 minutes in. I didn't even know the name of the lake, bro. I mispronounced it. I said,
hey, we call it in here, we call Big Dick.
I'm like, 10 minutes in. I'm like, oh, it's a good one. And you could tell on big fish, like fish 8 pounds and bigger tend to not move on those soft bait hook sets, like because they just have enough weight just to sit there. Then you feel that big head shake. Like a 6-7 pounder, you're gonna swing, and it's just gonna keep coming with that momentum of your big hook set if you swing hard enough. And this is big mono fluorocarbon days, and this thing finally breaks the surface after a few lines of me kind of showboating into the camera. I'm like, oh my god, this is literally the biggest bass I've ever seen, ever. I mean, there was a couple times I could see this back in the day where I saw some maybe like 16-pound class fish, but this thing was just. It was a blob in the water, and then it went to almost panic mode, but then like focus on the moment right now. You've blown enough opportunities on big fish in the past. Don't do it now. but still kind of playing to the camera, right? And I got a head cam version I'm probably going to release on my Patreon account or my personal YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll probably do a green room video on it, but I still haven't like put that out there. And the net's over the seat on the back deck, and it's like caught, right?
Oh, fuck, dude.
So, like, dude, you know how many horror stories I have of me reaching for a net on a big swimbait fish and not having full control of that thing, usually rod tip up in the air, trying to pull its head out of the water with a big heavy bait, like disastrous.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I mean, dude, I'm telling you, I've never been so focused. Get this net off of that seat. It's still playing it cool for the camera, right? All right, cool. And this, you know, getting that big salmon halibut net that everybody used to laugh at me for having. Now everybody's got one.
I know, straight up.
All right.
Pull that dick out again.
I'm just saying, hey, I'm not new to this game. And this fish finally slides up over the rim of that net, bro. Oh my gosh. It's hard to put into words that moment, that feeling that overcome me. I honestly hope if you love fishing, you feel what I felt in that moment.
Yeah.
Like real talk.
No,
So,
I get people probably when they catch their PBs, if nothing like yours, but like that.
Bro, I chased that fish for 20 years.
Yeah, straight up.
Right, dude? 100%.
Yeah, and I put myself in a position to have an
Did you get a mount
opportunity.
made?
Honestly, at the time, I didn't want to do it.
No, not like kill it, but you could have got a 17
No,
comparable.
no,
like,
it would have been a fiberglass mount regardless.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But at the time, no, because I felt like that might have been conceding and like settling.
Yeah, hey, this is it, you know.
But like an OG taxidermist, Robert Munoz, I believe is his name. He's actually out of like our area, like Azusa,
Really?
Glendora maybe or something. But
right.
he used to have like that wild taxidermy exhibit on the inside wall at the Fred Hall show.
Yeah.
First aisle. You walk in, first
Okay.
aisle, right hand side. Remember all of that massive just fish mount.
And he lives in Azusa.
He
did?
He did.
Okay.
But like his business shrunk to nothing. But he still, dude, he had all the OG molds from all those trophies from the early 90s. Because all the OGs used to bring and kill their fish and bring them to
straight kill
him. So he had dimensions of these fish that just don't exist anywhere else.
Yeah.
The dimensions of my fish were 28 inches by 25 and a quarter, I think. And he had that.
So you're like, yes, make it.
Well, he offered it to me for like, I couldn't say no.
Yeah.
And I was like, psh, all right. So I got that mount. It's actually
you do?
It's at the Big Bass Streams
Oh,
office
hell
in
yeah,
Texas. Like, it's,
Hell yeah.
and it's dope. It looks so. He's such an
no,
artist, man. You've seen it,
Yeah, hell yeah.
dude. The way he paints it, and like that fish that mold was from, it's got a little bit smaller head and mouth than mine did. But dude, otherwise, it's my
Hey, you're
fish.
happy either way, right?
It's a good reminder.
Yeah.
Right, but
Are you
yeah.
still hunting for that bigger? Or not really? Are you
absolutely, I'm open to it. Problem is, as you probably seen from talking to a lot of the OGs, the new OGs, man, like it's not a good time.
No, not at all.
Like, so hopefully those opportunities come again. Hopefully they come here in California and specifically Southern California. But I think it takes more than some of us bitching and moaning about things and actually like getting off their keisters and taking action. Right? And
What do you think you can do to like push that?
man,
like lake trout, like stockings, like what do you do with DFG? What do you do?
I mean, it's a complex answer, right? Nobody's got a complete answer. Nobody's even got like a semblance of a plan, really. But if we can try to come together as a community, especially leverage these new anglers that could benefit from catching stupid trout in some of our urban fisheries in the winter
Straight
and
up,
creating
man.
fishing opportunities for the kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of like, oh man, my pets aren't being fed. Like, bro,
Exactly.
that's barking up the wrong tree. Be a little bit more tactful with your presentation than you are with your swim bait, homie, because you're not catching anything there either. Like, it's all
I
Those facts, man.
experienced it once, trout fishing, and this dude. This is at Ralph B. I live in.
for sure.
Okay,
Dude, there
so
used to be
I was
giants in there.
fishing trout with my buddy Whackem Fishing,
Okay.
and he's like, "Hey, I'll meet you there." I said, "Okay." This was a couple years ago, and this dude's throwing a big fucking swim bait right over me. I'm like, "Motherfucker, come on, dude!" Like, I'm right here. I get what you're doing, you know, but I'm like right fucking here, and I lost my shit for a minute, and then we talked. I'm like, "All right, cool," you know, like, but like you said, like throwing swim baits. Sometimes I'm gonna say, kids are there trout fishing. You could be thrown right over their shit sometimes, and you know, fuck it up or whatever. But
But see, the problem now that opportunity doesn't even exist anymore because the trout programs don't see any support. There's no public voice. There's no demand for it. There's nobody talking about it. But there's some angry bass guys and striper guys complaining. That's the wrong way to pitch this. So
yeah, it's never gonna happen like that.
If you could do something and you had a big voice, like where you had some public, way you were in office, what would you do? What would the first plan of attack be?
Man, get some participation, create some events, get some interest.
Events are a big deal.
Events are a big deal, man. Growing up at Pudding Stone, there was an annual trout derby that the Pudding Stone.
All of them do. I mean, around here, Ralph B, Tri-Cities.
Used to.
Tri-Cities is a catfish now one, I think.
It used to be trout and bass in there too.
Yeah.
So this existed in every one of our urban fisheries, and a byproduct of that was trophy bass fishing. So if you focus on the trout fishing programs as they were designed to be, enjoyed as a fishery in itself, that's going to happen anyway.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Stop barking up that tree. Be a little bit smarter and have some finesse in your game. Yeah. All right? Let's put some trout derbies together. And let's have some fun. Introduce a whole generation of anglers, young or old, new or veteran. Go out there, have some fun, get some trout back in our waters. That's going to be a big piece right there.
See, you do shit like that, you have some guys just like, what the fuck's he doing?
And
it's like laughing at you, having no clue of what.
But see, they don't see that I'm thinking 10 steps ahead. They can't even see in front of their own 2 feet.
I think that's ego at the same time, right?
See,
I mean, it's having an ego like where you're like,
dude, you got to play the game, though.
Like,
they got to think about it. You got to play the game. Gotta play the game.
So I mean, these are conversations I have with the team, right? And like everybody that rocks with me still, especially the OGs like Carnell, who's been with me since day one. Like we have these conversations, like, man, we need to bring back like the Friends of Pudding Stone. Mm-hmm. But like, we're all.
It's a great idea. Like, I mean, I'm sure you would get
It's a great romantic idea, but the reality of me, I couldn't even come and do this podcast with you for a year and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but maybe you could get like a like you said, a team. How about this? Street teams.
Remember that?
Hey, Carnell knows, dude. You need a Big Bass Dream street team, bro.
Man, we got a solid team worldwide. My boys be putting in work. My boys and my females.
No, you do.
There.
You do. I've seen all your videos.
Every day, homie. Every day, worldwide.
Maybe 2021 will be the time to change this all and kind of make an event.
Here's the thing, man. Like I'm trying to leverage myself continually to be in a better position to influence this game that has done so much for me, right? And I want to give back to my where I started. I want to give back to Southern California. I want to give back to fishing as a whole. And eventually, if I can just keep getting better at what I'm doing, I'm going to have that leverage and that freedom and the resources and the support to walk the walk.
Yeah.
Like,
you need to.
Everybody's got great ideas, right? How many people actually execute them? So, like, I'm really wary about talking about too much, but, like, this is something we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And eventually...
I only know a couple dudes that try. T?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been doing a great job.
So, T's my boy. Like, we're buddies. We fish a lot. And he'll do shit where I'm like, he does something. I'm like, fuck, he just does it. And he does a lot. He gives back. He gives his own shit away.
We try to support some of his events.
So, like, I mean, it's hard to, like, do it. It's really
hard. A lot of work, man.
And especially for you, I get you have a whole company you're running. So it's like, to me to do the fucking podcast is like sometimes pulling teeth. I got a fucking wife I got to make happy still. The Viking. We call her the Viking. And it's for a reason.
That was a few years ago, though, we did that bluegill one. That one was really fun, dude.
Dude, you should do something like that because I feel like...
We had a really good time. For the people that came out, we had a really fucking good time.
I love fishing bluegill. I love it. I go with my kid all the time.
People disrespect panfish, man. They all think it's so easy until it comes time to put it like.
Dude, I love fishing. I take my kids all the time.
It's so much fun, bro.
You can learn so much that you can apply to other styles of fishing through panfish.
Maybe that's something to do next year, man. To do a bluegill event again and get kids summertime.
That's what we did. Got kids, barbecued, and stuff like that.
There's enough people that make food and barbecue that fish. Will probably come out and support.
For sure.
Let's get into these questions. You got to go to the bathroom. You guys want to take a drink, anything like that?
I'm good.
All right. Let's get into these questions. All right. Hold on. The first one is going to be, got a lot of them, so hold on one
All right.
second.
Well, to be fair, I'm going to ask you some questions at the end, too.
Oh, no, don't ask me. This is the first one is from Dylan Borsecki. I think, I don't know.
Shout out to Oregon.
Is it? Do you know who it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Dylan, do you think custom, this is a great question, really good question. Do you think custom painting a bait affects the action of the bait due to the weight of the bait?
It definitely can.
Yes.
You think so?
Absolutely can.
You'd rather have a scratched up bait than a painted one sometimes?
Now, some of the bait painters might feel some type of way because for me, man, as an angler, I never did well on a bait that I used to catch them on, that I had like doctored up to look pretty. That none of those baits ever caught another fish for me.
Some people, so what I like hearing that because it's like some people focus on the color or the look too much.
Yeah.
Right?
The thing is if it's a really good painter though, they'll know like the mathematics of that bait, like how not to add too much to it.
Do you have anyone that you respect, like that you really love, or you might go to?
Yeah, for sure. Like Jason, for sure.
Bass Jack?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a dope painter, and like he's a type. See, the thing about him is like he's an actual fisherman that fishes the baits first.
That's important.
That's
man.
important. So he knows how the baits operate.
Yeah.
So he knows offhand, like doing too much, that bait's gone. You know, it's you know.
And I'm sure the clear could really screw up the swim.
If you add too much, for sure. It's just
Bait
like it's
making is
just like
its own science, man.
I have guys call me and say, "Hey, I see you catching them on the 110, the mega bass. You change the hooks on them?" I said, "No, I don't. I don't change the hooks."
I feel like that too. Like
I was like, "You could change the
yeah,
hooks,
right.
but I'm gonna be honest with you. You're not. I mean, it's not gonna swim the way it's designed exactly to swim with the hooks that are on it. Like I'll buy extra hooks of the same hooks, and if I bend them out, if I feel like I've caught too many fish on them, I'll change them out with them hooks. But using a completely different hook, just me personally, I just I
agree 100%.
You know,
that's from my surf fishing days when I used to fish 110.
some baits you could do that, like a crankbait or something like that. But too, you got to get a little technical too. You know how much wobble you have on the bait. You a little heavy on the hooks, you're not gonna have as much wobble. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Great question, Dylan.
Yeah, for sure.
Here's the next one. It's from Staben Anglers. He's got a couple of them that are really good. The first one, as a brand, how do you feel about associating or collaborating with other brands?
Man, I'm open to it. But the problem is, especially early on, man, like I've been so just focused on what's in front of me and picking those lowest, like the lowest hanging fruit to get myself to that next level. There hasn't been really like free time or an opportunity to really explore. And even now, like there's new brands out there that have been super dope and respectful. But I don't have the time right now. I just don't, man.
Which is good because you're truthful. I feel like if you're truthful about something, you tell the truth.
I try to tell these dudes straight up.
And you're like, dude, I don't got
straight
fucking
up.
time. That's it.
But like some people take that a certain way. So I've had some brands come at me sideways like, yo, man, it's just because I don't have time for it doesn't mean like I disrespect you or like don't like what you're doing. Like your brand is cool.
You're just focusing on your own deal.
And really, like, dude, I don't care about merch and apparel. Big Bass Dreams is not a t-shirt company,
he's
bro.
always been on that. Yeah.
Hey, guess
sure.
what? I'm
Never
in the
has
same
been.
boat. You guys won't see any more cast and crank shit because I did it and it was a fucking
Dude,
bitch.
it's not even worth it, bro. I don't even care.
Hey, I was at Performance selling them, and I'm like, this is fucking whack. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
It's just too much work.
It's a lot of work.
Like
I want to focus on what I want to focus on, and it's generating dope content.
so that's what I focus on is just the audio. Hey, audio. I'm trying to do the fucking video, but we'll see how it goes. Great answer. Do you have plans? This is a great one to host any clinics or community events for the kids. You've done one before. Hopefully this year you have next year, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be a wild year for me, to be honest. Like I might be busy as hell through the fall. But if I do come home in the fall, like let's try to make something happen, man. Like we'll do something small scale even, all right? And if you guys want to show up, show up.
That's cool.
Yeah,
It's
that's
something to give back,
basically how
right?
that's basically how we look at it every time. It's like whoever comes out. There's always
But
love anyways, you know.
Here's something that people that are way more successful than me in anything, and I'm not talking about just money, just like where they are in their life and their happiness level. It's like, hey man, for you to actually pour something into someone else's cup to help them out. Like, you got to have something in your cup to pour out. Like, bro, I haven't had none in my cup my whole life. Give me some goddamn time.
Do you think that jades you?
I'm working on it, homie.
Do you think that jades you, though? That, like, a little bit? Because you're working to build your brand on your own. You do your shit. You know, like, you're building it, but no one's ever there to pour in your cup. You make them pour in your cup. Or you do something to give them promotional-wise. So maybe it jades you a little, go, I'm pouring my own cup. I'm good.
No. Every situation's different. It really is. Every circumstance is different. It's just like fishing. There's no magic lure, man.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%.
There's no magic answer for that.
Yeah.
Like,
nice. The next one, do you ever get burned out on largemouth fishing and need to switch up species?
have you seen my Instagram?
He does. I don't.
You know, you can fish largemouth your whole life. You're good to go.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I
have fun doing other shit. Yeah.
Like if I'm not.
You should have
opposed
seen
to
how
any
happy
of-
this fool was pulling on Reddier at Havasu this Memorial Day.
That looked fun, dude.
I'm not gonna lie, it was dope. Like I'll do it, but
He missed the flathead fishing the night before, dude. That was a blast.
Really
that
went
was
off.
sick. I
We had
came in
four of the
too
boats
late.
tied up.
I came in
and
too
we were
late.
hanging
Nice,
out.
dude.
That
Nice.
was really dope.
You already answered this one. Is there going to be a new season of Breaking Bass?
No,
Maybe
but
something
there's
different.
Plenty
Yeah.
of new stuff coming.
I
So
wanted to
stay
talk
tuned.
about that too. If you can you talk about it, or is it December 1st?
I'll talk about one of the things I got going on. Okay, so December 1st, we got a new series premiere coming to the Big Bass Streams channel. It's a high production. It's going to probably be a quarterly piece if I can get enough support for it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an adventure style short film, 16 minutes of just hype. You watch it, you're going to want to go fishing. Okay.
What are you doing it out
and
of?
you're going to
Everything?
want to go fishing even if you don't fish. That's the idea. Because I'm
That's tight.
still trying to grow the audience and show fishing is dope. And show all these people here in Southern California. And they're more hip to it now than they were 5, 10, 15, 20,
Think about
25
it,
years
man.
ago. It's come a
Industry's
long way.
Come a long way.
All right. But let's keep that momentum.
We used to get clowned. Now everybody's like,
Right.
fucking,
Yeah, real
think
talk.
No,
about it.
even when I started 10 years ago, it's like to now people go, oh, my wife will go, my husband fish. Oh, what does he fish? Before it was like, he fishes?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've
You
been
know?
around. So
Yeah.
you've seen it.
Yeah.
So there's that coming out. And
What kind of footage is it? What kind of fish? Are you doing just a little bit of everything?
So it's gonna be like a more almost like a travel based deal. Okay, so Minnesota was episode 1, and it's exploring Minnesota and its different dynamic fisheries through like shore fishing, kayak, canoe. It's not $100,000 bass boat,
No.
right? Because that's off-putting to someone that's new to this,
Which is
to
cool.
this game.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Because
Sometimes you have naggy people hanging out with you too. Maybe that might be sitting in the room.
those dudes aren't too bad. But yeah, I'm excited for that one. I've shown a couple people a preview. I actually haven't even shown you yet. I just got it yesterday.
The pictures look amazing that you
Cool,
put up
man.
so far.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to capture that essence better. But be
Nice.
excited for that.
Yeah, that'll be something cool to look forward to. Definitely, I'm sure everyone wants to see that. Gosh darn it, sorry. When fishing a new lake in winter, SoCal, what's usually your start plan? That was sleigh day.
Front end or midpoint?
What do you start
Winter?
when it's cold? Say
Go-
December. What do you do?
Go find them.
Are you using electronics?
Location is the first part of it. If you have access to electronics,
have
absolutely.
access.
First thing you should be doing.
That's what we did today.
Yeah.
We eliminated a lot of dead water looking for bluegill, dude. I was like, dude,
Were you going deep?
yes,
Most
Yeah.
of the time.
and shallow,
Okay.
and in the
do.
brush, and in the sand, and in the rocks, and in the dam, and in the buoys. Like,
You gotta look.
it's a process
Gotta
of
look,
elimination.
man.
So
Okay?
that's a good explanation right now because we're in the middle of November.
So
Yeah.
It might not be cold,
Winter
but
hasn't even really.
Yeah.
We're still on the front end of fall.
dude, just a
honestly.
week ago there was fish in a foot of water.
Yeah.
Okay, so they could still be up there,
yeah.
but I mean, generally
Yeah, it
you
hasn't-
can kind of
hasn't got
follow
cold enough
seasonal
yet.
patterns, but every year's different. Just go out there with that same mindset, no matter what the lake is and what the conditions are. Just eliminate variables.
Yeah, makes sense. Next one is Japanese bass man. Biggest mistake you see from beginner swim baiters.
Skipping the fundamentals.
I think that's an easy one to answer for everyone is not being a conventional, whatever you want to call it, using all your techniques first, right?
Yeah.
Learning how to jig fish, drop shot, jerk bait, whatever it might be, chatter bait, just learning all those things.
All
right?
of it.
Great answer. Who or what inspired you to pursue big bass?
Man, one of the early ones for me was old Doc Holliday. Big shout out to Doc. Saw him at the Fred Hall show this March. I think he was rocking a big old Batman button-up shirt, man, with that Doc Holliday swag that only he could pull off.
Batman.
Man.
For me, that was one of the first ones
Yeah.
that I saw like in person.
Yeah.
Right. That lived in my kind of general area.
Which is cool because you lived in your area. Like
That's
a lot
it.
of the times you can't look after a guy that lives in your area.
No.
Same thing with you.
Most of those guys
Yeah,
were
well-
outside, like in LA
Yeah,
or San Fernando
exactly.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I think, I don't know, it's kind of weird because it's probably more of like maybe some local cats. I think it was really just amongst all of us. Like, we were always reaching
Who was
for that.
some of the local dudes you guys fish with? That
I
you
mean,
kinda-
dude, like, honestly, like, back in the day, our homie Kevin Hugo was always
Yeah,
cracking
dude.
a big one, like, on a
Yeah.
deep little end. Like,
Yep,
what the hell?
straight up. So,
But, like, dude, he was the man.
Yeah.
He was catching bigger fish than anybody in our circle.
for
That
sure.
was your motivation, kind of like in the beginning.
Yeah, and then like I said, when I got, and I was younger too at the time, so I was kind of like, okay, big fish to me was just like I really never seen that many big fish.
Teeners, no
honestly.
teeners, right?
Not
Yeah.
even
Bro, we
even
fished
doubles,
pudding stone.
bro.
They're northern strain largemouth.
Hey, what was
Not
the
even
biggest pudding
double.
stone fish you ever got?
The biggest one I ever got was 10.
That's a
9.
big fish, dude.
That's a big northern largemouth,
Oh,
right?
hell
Mine
yeah.
was 8.
Biggest
for
one I've
pudding
ever,
stone.
yeah. Biggest one I've ever seen. My buddy Greg caught it next to me. We had 4 fish for like, I don't know, like 38 pounds or something that day. I had like a 9.6. He had an 11.15 that I weighed. So that's the biggest one I've
Oh,
seen
man.
on a scale, because everybody's got those stories. And even some
Hey,
of our
that's
homies.
huge.
What kind of
Yeah,
scale?
like-
What kind of scale?
Salter Bricknell.
Look at you're good. You're
Oh,
on
yeah.
top of it.
Gotta be, man.
That's a dude. I haven't even seen anything like that out of the pud, and who knows?
Biggest
how
I caught
long.
was 3 pounds out of a flow tube. Fun.
That's good fish.
Yeah,
That's
fun.
definitely a decent fish,
That's a
yeah.
fun. I think if you're learning how to flow tube, great lake to go to.
Yeah.
You can go in that sailboat cove right there.
A
And
lot
just
of
kinda-
offshore stuff you
Yeah.
can fish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. This one's for you to mention. If he misses his fishing out of his little pond prowler boat.
If
you
I
miss-
do, at times I do. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, man.
That thing was dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that little thing.
Stealth.
You could definitely get back up in areas that you can't take a boat, and then it's a lot quieter, and then it slows you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can fish a lot slower instead of like running and going. When you're in a boat, you want to cover water, but probably you only gonna cover so much, bro. So
Yeah.
it's like that's the dope thing about it.
Well, how
And
big
then
was it?
just-
9 foot or 11?
It was 8, bro.
8. Oh my god!
It was 8.
You ever almost flipped that fucking thing?
I never almost flipped it, but I did get caught in some stuff at Paris. And then one time when I took it up to Santa Margarita, I got caught in the back, dude.
Ooh.
And that little trolling motor was just not cutting it, bro.
You thought you were gonna sleep out there? huh?
Oh, I honestly did. I'm not lying. Like, and nobody goes back there.
Yeah.
That's a long way.
It's a long way. Nobody ever came back there. And I was on a trolling motor so hard, dude, that it melted the wires and they just disconnected.
Oh shit! Then what did you do?
I literally pulled the battery out of the back and hooked the motor up direct right there on the deck of the boat, and finally got my way back and around that bend. and
never
back.
doing that again.
Oh, never again, bro.
The struggle.
That was freaking,
shit,
and that
dude.
wind was just coming through there, banging me up against the rocks while I was trying to connect it. Just all bad, but hey.
Did you catch a big fish that day?
Anything, I didn't. I missed a good one early in the morning.
Hey man,
And that
shout out
was
to
it.
everybody that's fishing out of a DOS
Straight
boat
up.
or a 1.0
Right.
of their
Straight up,
own.
man. I respect it.
And don't take it
That-
for granted.
Nah, the experience is just so sick, dude. I did anything in that boat, man. Like,
And you'd ram it into shit. You probably didn't give a crap.
Yeah,
Right?
totally.
This one is Oliver. How hard was it to leave your full-time job and live your dream?
Frightening.
Yeah.
Bro,
You
how
were
do
a
you
PM
go?
before, project manager?
Yeah, it did.
I remember that, dude.
When I got that job, I thought I was like good, right? Like, man, I had just got laid off because of the whole recession from 2008. Just lingered all the way into 2011 for me. Then I just got let go for the fourth time from the same brand or same company. And they're like, man, we can't bring you back this time. Like, it's bad. And that's when I had the time to fish that crazy year. And then I got hired on the new job.
We hooked them up with
Actually, a week after I caught that big fish.
Yeah.
Where did you get a job at?
Car construction,
Really?
Ontario.
Oh,
concrete.
nice. Yeah.
But I was like, man, I'm back in the game. I'm making money again. Like, we're going to Vegas, baby. And, man, that year went by, and it's crazy because at the time, bro, I was living the dream job. Right? You know how many people go through whatever struggles they go through to land that job?
Yeah, he
And-
had.
Did you go to school for that to be a PM or
No, I didn't. I was going to school for business and became a college dropout. Shout out to early Kanye. But it was really easy because like the threshold was set really low as far as
Yeah.
like office personnel in that trade or just in that whole construction world, right?
Yeah.
So my buddy initially brought me into the field. So I actually worked out in the field as an apprentice. As
What
a
kind of
carpenter.
a carpenter? Okay.
Yeah, steel stud framing, drywall.
Oh, look at you. This is rare.
Yeah.
You don't see many Asian dudes doing
No.
still stuff.
Not at all.
But my
man.
boy that brought me on, big shout out to Bobby Stiles. He's out in Florida now, but I met him fishing at Pudding Stone. He was the general foreman on the job.
Okay.
Children's Hospital in Long Beach.
Oh, yeah.
And he would just get swamped with office work. It's like, hey man, you want to just come in here and help me in the office instead of freaking, move studs and drywall and whatever crappy job is there, right? And I'm like, hell yeah! And eventually it's like, damn, you're really good at this. I'm like, bro, this is like a fourth grader could do this.
Yeah,
easy, yeah.
And it really just, they were like, man, we want to just be a project engineer instead.
You're like,
we'll keep you in the
duh.
trade. And I'm like, yeah. You have to put your tools on and go to carpenter school 4 times a year. I'm like, cool, let's do this.
Yeah.
But like to leave that security of a weekly paycheck and a nice one too, and I just moved out into this new place, like really trying to push out, man, as a young man,
Yeah.
and just getting that door slammed in my face the first time before coming back, kind of showed me how quickly that can go away, right? And I come from a family of just entrepreneurs. Like my family came over as refugees, and I was the firstborn American citizen here.
Oh, wow.
So everybody in my family hustles something. Like my cousin was on Shark Tank, and
Oh, no way. What
he's
was it
killing
for?
He's doing those little raving light gloves, man, and
Oh, really?
yeah, they were fighting over him. Yo, it was crazy. It was wild, man. But anyways,
shit.
I always kind of knew having my own hustle of some kind was the only way I could really have the time and hopefully the resources to do life the way I want to do it.
You knew you'd be able to push hard.
I knew I could push hard. I didn't know where it could get me.
Yeah.
Right. So to leave that full-time job to try to chase this full-time was crazy. And it's interesting because I was actually in my office and my boss came in. I'm telling you, he's the dopest boss that I've ever had.
Yeah.
He gave me my first Christmas bonus. Bro, this fool almost had me crying when he gave me a dope watch
Dope ass.
as a
watch.
bonus. And he came in my office like, yo, man, your heart's not in this. You should go try. Do whatever you want to do.
cool.
Do we had this crazy dope 3-hour talk? Bro, I just went for it.
Worked.
Sink or swim.
There it goes.
Great story. Great piece of information, man, to give someone, Hopefully, I might I know a couple guys that are thinking the same way, and hopefully, either you do go all the way or you don't.
Man, if you don't believe in yourself, who the hell should?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's real.
I agree 100%. Let's see. This one is from a saltwater angler fishing calicos. Where to start when looking for freshwater bass, to fish freshwater bass. So maybe these guys are calico anglers and they want to start fishing freshwater
Find the
bass.
guy
Shit,
with
it's
the
almost-
fanciest boat and just follow him. Mark
Shit.
all his holes with your GPS. Come back when he's not paying attention. No, man, it's as easy as just
Fishing
trying
calico,
every
man.
different type of cover that you got on that lake. And dude, if you're getting positive reinforced or reaction from those fish in the form of bites or follows, that's a great place to start or leave if you're not getting that.
Yeah.
Every lake's different.
Yeah.
And every day is different. They're going to be set up on something different.
Well, I mean, they're already kind of, I mean, if they're fishing for calico, they have the mindset already of what they should be doing and just implementing that on the lake, you know.
On a smaller scale. Yeah. 100%. Tom, Western Fishing, how many years has Oliver been swim bait fishing?
What year is it, 2020?
Yeah.
Man.
Long.
24 years?
Fuck.
25 years, something in that range.
It's a long time.
Long time. No,
Yeah.
I wasn't very good at it for most of it. A lot of
It's still a
sucky
long
years.
time. For Oliver, what is your ideal setup for spotted bay bass fishing? I feel
Ooh.
like that's an easy one,
Man,
right? It's freshwater shit. And
the lightest rod I can get away with.
Yeah.
And just enjoy every little tug and pull.
Talk about that a little bit, spotted bay bass, because I talk to dudes that from up north and they come down here to fish and we go fish with them. I feel like it's almost like a largemouth. I mean a smallmouth a little bit, you know, like just fight hard.
In some ways, ounce for ounce, they're the hardest pulling fish shaped like a bass.
Yes.
By far.
Yeah.
If they jump, they'd be next level.
Yeah.
But they don't jump.
Yeah.
At all.
But they are tenacious little bastards. They live in all the inshore fisheries here in Southern California, down in Mag Bay.
Yeah.
They're truly a Southern California West Coast fishery. There's a whole culture behind it now, which is interesting to see because, like, as a kid, when I was fishing for them in Newport Bay, like, nobody even cared about them.
Yeah.
Like, you're fishing for what in here? Like,
Yeah.
now it's like the cool thing to do. I was like, oh, cool.
Do people trip do you ever have people now with the podcast, more people ask about calico? I've had people go, what is this calico thing? I've heard about it. 'Cause
Oh, for sure.
they fight hard.
So here's, I'm trying to always represent all the dope elements that Southern California fishing culture has to offer to every other one that I engage with. And when they see calico bass, a Josh Douglas FLW Tour Pro is like, man, I want to come do that.
Right.
Even the spotties guys are like, yeah, that looks like a gnarly little fish you were fishing in that little Boston whaler. I'm like, yeah, man, like if you come to Cali, you got to experience that because you can't catch them anywhere else.
Yeah. And that's a cool thing to push towards dudes. Like even Benny Florentino kind of talks about it. Like he got like Magic Mike to come on his fucking boat, bro. No joke. You like fishing calicos, bro. You're dancing around and shit, I'm sure.
That's so funny.
Here's the next one. This is a go for both of you. And do you think Paris can still produce double-digit bass? I think they still do, right?
A 10-pounder is a pretty easy threshold to reach. The lake's
Paris.
actually really healthy right now.
Yeah. Same thing?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oliver, what is the ultimate game fish?
The ultimate game fish is the crappie. The black crappie.
Really do.
He really feels that way. He ain't.
That's what we call. I mean, that.
Are you fucking serious?
That's what I refer to them as all the time. So if that's one of my, audience members, he might be like just throwing like an inside joke at me. But it's kind of like a satirical just play for me.
Well, he did hashtag big crappie dreams.
See, that's
He's probably a fan. It's Charlie Fool. And then to mention any new sweet raps dropping soon.
Actually, yeah, dude. I've been sitting on a lot of stuff, that I worked on for a while. But
got some heaters coming.
Got some stuff coming, dude, for sure.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
They might be fishing themed.
There
They'll
you go.
most likely be because I haven't.
What else are you into right now? You ain't banging, bro. You're
that's
fishing.
what I'm saying. I haven't written anything else about anything. So anything that I have are
So stay tuned.
anything I'm gonna be releasing is definitely fishing related.
All right, the rest are kind of shitty questions. We'll leave it at that. When are you going to go into that drama?
Good thing you skipped those, man.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's...
If you guys
It's a
got
fishing
something
drama.
that you're
We
brave
just-
enough to ask on a DM, come ask me in my face.
There you go.
I'll be at
Ask
Fred
me.
Hall show. I'll
There
be
you
at the
go.
Bassmaster
Hey,
Classic.
if it
I'll probably be
happens-
at your
We-
lake.
We just like keeping it positive, man.
Yeah.
You gotta.
Honestly, just keeping
You
it
have
cool,
to.
man.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we got through everything I had written down, man. The tournament fishing thing that's going to be. Oh, you did a big swim bait one in the Ozarks, right?
Yeah, I fished a big fish
yeah,
event
you
in
won that one,
2018.
right?
I did.
How was that?
It was cool.
Not
we
what you
we documented the whole thing. There was
Uh-huh.
just some like thing that made me call up my boy Wes because he had just hired a video kid. I was like, hey, come out and fish this with me and bring your kid, and like we're gonna do something. Like I just felt it in the air. Like I'd not been largemouth bass fishing for like 5 months. I've been chasing big smallmouth, some musky stuff. I'm ready to go catch a largie. And called my boy Kevin Brightwell, KGB Swim Baits, to, as I was coming through Springfield, just to like say what's up and grab a beer. And it's all documented on the video. It's like $100,000 fish on the Big Bass Streams YouTube channel.
That's crazy.
Literally the whole story. But anyways, there's like a big, they have these big fish tournaments throughout the country, mostly the mid, south, east, where you can buy in for $180 to $360 for a weekend. Biggest fish takes home like 50 to 100 grand.
That's a lot of money.
We definitely don't have those here, man.
And I just knew going in there like, yo, there's 3,000 plus contestants, but I probably have legit more big bass experience than that whole field combined because of that what part of the country they were in.
And they probably weren't throwing what you would be throwing.
No,
sure they weren't.
Did you get any Cali guys coming that way?
Sometimes, occasionally. I will say my boy Kevin is a big bait maker, and this year, I think everybody that threw his swim bait cashed a check, including the winner.
Oh shit, that's amazing.
You're welcome.
What's his bait name again?
KGB.
Okay, KGB.
Yeah, he's dope. He lived here in Castaic for a little bit.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So that's where he got his influence from Southern California culture and took it back with him when he went back to Arkansas.
That's sick.
Yeah.
He's dope, man. He's a rad dude. He's always been super
Really,
cool.
really cool, man.
He's actually a guest on one of our episodes from our reality show.
Oh,
from
was
Breaking
he?
Bass.
Oh, nice.
And he
dude.
stuck one off camera, of
stuck one.
course. And he's just a dope dude. So if you guys are big bait fanatics,
He actually came all the way down for the premiere too of
That's right.
of this wasn't the first
The
one.
movement. We did
it
a
was the
premiere
second
for
one,
the second volume of Big
Second
Bass
volume.
Streams.
The first one was at Performance, right?
No, the first one was at Sun Country Marine in
Okay.
Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second one?
That was performance.
Okay.
That was
Yeah,
performance.
So if you guys have been wanting to come to an event like that, show up on YouTube December 1st. We're going to have a virtual version of that,
cool.
right? Hopefully a lot of the team members will be on there. We'll be live chatting. I'll be on there.
Yeah.
And, man, just come chop it up for 16 minutes.
And you're doing what you can, I guess, these days. Like, not. We're safe, man. We try to stay our distance. And if,
Absolutely.
it's hard to I don't know what to say. Because I don't know what to fucking believe with this COVID
Man,
shit
you just
anymore.
got to be mindful of others.
Yeah, it's like
right?
if you don't feel good, then don't come around me,
That's
man.
Yeah,
all,
that's
man.
what it is. It's like anytime.
Yeah,
If I'm
yeah.
sick, I ain't gonna,
Yeah, I agree.
be
The
around
same way I don't
people.
want to smell somebody's secondhand cigarette smoke. Like,
Same
bro,
shit,
It's
dude.
the same principle.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out. I really
For
do.
real, man.
Show, man.
Thanks for having
Hold on,
us.
I'm about to flip the script on you. Real
Uh-oh,
quick.
here we go.
So now that you're a legitimate influential creator, especially here in this scene,
Yes.
right? Like, I want to know the whys because, like, to be honest, I don't know a lot about you or the podcast. I'm fascinated.
Okay.
Right. So why did you even start this?
I started it because I worked construction my whole life, listened to comedy podcasts. So I'd listen to like Joe Rogan since it started. I think it was like episode 80. That's how long ago I listened to it. Then it was like Bert Kreischer, all these guys. So I said, okay, I like fishing. Is there a good fishing one? So I listened to like, I think it was the world's greatest fishing podcast in San Diego. And I don't remember, but it was kind of funny. So I'm like, oh, that's cool, but everyone has their point of view too much. So I feel like everyone had their
You don't
own.
think it was an objective view?
Yeah,
too
so
much?
everyone either had, hey, today is brought to you by so and so, and then they're interjecting whatever company all the time. And I don't get me wrong, if I got sponsors, I'd say it in the beginning and then we roll.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear something a little more raw, and we let it go wherever it goes. I mean, there's been times where I was with Hacker Power and I threw up in my backyard drunk. Just that's where it goes, man.
Yeah.
And if it's real, I'm a real dude. Like, I'm no different than half these dudes I listen to it that get fucked up and say shitty things. And,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Riley's seen me firsthand 2 times, like getting trashed at events, I mean, that's I'm a regular dude. I did construction my whole life. I love fishing.
What trade?
I've done every trade. Right now, I do a commercial, like government security for. I'm not going to say that. I'll cut that out. I do government security for
cool.
like low voltage. So I'm an estimator.
Oh, cool.
I did drywall. I've done everything. But so I thought of that. So like me and Carnell talked before, I used to be in bands. So when I was 22, I quit the band I was in. They were ready to go on a European tour and I had to quit because I had my kid. So he's 16 right now.
Yeah,
he's a big asshole.
Man.
See, for me, as a newcomer to this podcast game and like as a new consumer, or I don't know anything of this podcast world up until about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Right, like until April Vokey asked me to be on hers, I really paid very little attention to like what podcasts. Like, man, I don't have 2 hours to sit there and listen to somebody talking.
Different deal,
it's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
People will sit there and listen to the whole. It's crazy because I could look at my demographics and go, "There's no way I'd listen to myself talk that fucking long." But people will listen to dudes like,
dude, you got to think about like people that work every day and that are traveling and that are in traffic. That, dude, it's not as hard as you think. No, I do the same thing because I listen to like in a day. I listen especially
to 5.
when you tired of like the garbage that's being played on the radio. You like, dude, it's a bunch of whack shit on the radio. Like, why do I want to listen to this? Hey, I'll listen to a
because
podcast.
You could listen to so many different perspectives of so many different things. Like if it's music, if it's and
it's all anything. A learning curve, man. You want to hear what people have to say. You want to
I started watching basketball podcasts.
There you go.
Yeah,
I mean, I listen to everything. I listen to
especially things that you're into. You know what I mean?
Music ones, a lot of music ones too. Like where I'm listening to these dudes, but then I hear my friends on there. I'm like, me's full of fucking shit, man. That ain't real. You ain't gonna be no fucking gangster, like.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's pretty much what it came from, and I had a co-host in the beginning, but he got a little busy with this kid, so I just kind of do that.
This is a lot, man. So.
It's hopefully one day I can get an intern or something to do the video because I have probably 6 or 7 episodes just sitting there, the video, like hard drives full of video. Because it's like, for me to do a video,
I can relate.
It's like bam, bam, bam for 2.5 hours. So I'm on Premiere going 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then matching the audio up. I'm like, dude, this is, and don't get me wrong, it's great listens. So like, say I'll get, on your episode like 3,000 or 4,000 listens in a month, and I'll get another 2,000 on YouTube. Great. But it's just the fucking work. Not making money. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot of work to go into it.
Yeah, so it's like I just focus on the audio.
For sure. But this is a reminder for the audience, no matter what you like to consume, support the creators that you guys find value in. Right?
For sure.
And like merch is a great way to support them.
Patreon,
right?
Dude. Fuck
Patreon.
it.
Patreon. Dude, I got a Patreon.
And it's like, dude, and you put out free. You put out free media. I put out free media. If you like it, then support the Patreon.
Real talk.
I back it 100%,
Yeah, for
sure.
But
I really do appreciate both of you coming on. Thanks for coming on, Oliver. Thank you, Carnell, for supporting from the get-go, man, and wearing your shit. Like, it wasn't just like, hey, I sent you some shit. No, you fucking wear it, man.
Yeah, I rep it, dude. Like I said, it was dope.
His standards are set pretty low. So.
I really liked the graph, dude. It was dope. Yeah. Like, I was like, dang, that could, it looked like something like a logo that would be of mine or something.
Yeah,
it had a mic.
Big Gus did that from Fishing Week. Yeah, and he's cool.
Dude, that's my dude now, man.
He's a great guy.
A lot. He's really dope, dude.
He's fishing tournaments right now too. Yeah.
Yep. We always chop it up too, dude. So
it's cool to meet all these dudes and make connections. Like you just run into different people, and I mean, I can go pretty much any tackle shop and run into Mark, go talk to Higashi, go talk to Matt.
Especially now, dudes, that you've been
well, I got my solid core dudes. Like I fish with Joe from Performance. I fish with Mark. I hang out with Mark. Okay. I'll fish with certain guys all the time. Just it's cool to meet different guys and make a big connection in the whole thing. And hopefully when this all ends, we can do a whole nother. I had an event planned where I have a venue. My friend owns a venue called Chain Reaction.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do a big event where we do, I think 15 or 20 vendors on the outside, and it holds 600 people on the inside. There's a bar, speakers in the inside, on the stage. It'd be something cool, something different, like a Bassathon, but a little more to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully in the near future, I get all the guests that have been on, and we can all hang out.
Oh yeah.
Have fun when this COVID shit's over.
Man.
But I appreciate you guys taking the time to come down here and hang out. I really do.
Definitely. Man.
And I hope everything's safe for you guys the rest of the year.
That's what's up, man. Watch
All
out,
right,
y'all.
Dope.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yo, peace out.